today are, as always, James Powell, the merch grot. James, hi James.
How's it going?
Doing great, thanks very much. And we've got a new special host to help today, as our energy may be flagging into the late evening. Tom, our resident 40k expert, is here to learn some Age of Sigmar. Hi, Tom.
I don't know what's going on.
Perfect. That's exactly
the energy I'm here to bring to the table, guys. That's what I'm here for.
That is the energy that I want. Also, I think our TO, the most relaxed TO in the world, Adam, is here. Is not. Excellent.
Nope,
unless he's so relaxed.
How many bong hits have we had today?
No bong hits, but
Bong hits.
9-sided.
Only legal things, I guess.
Right. Okay. Time to get this ball rolling. So, welcome to the show. If you are watching live, what you can see here is a game, two 2,000-point armies, Age of Sigmar armies here. At the top is a Seraphon army run by our man Aaron Wilson. He's got a whole bunch of games in with this army. And it is pretty much the meta pick. Tom, Seraphon at the minute are the Iron Hands of Age of Sigmar in the table.
Totally broken, mate.
They are strong. They have very strong elements. We'll talk about what those elements are right now. He's got these skinks. The lists, by the way, oh my god, I'll put those in the chat for you guys right now. I don't want you guys to be upset with me for not doing it. So here they are in the chat. Yo to everyone who's joined us live, by the way. I'm just going to let everyone know that we're live. I'll put this. In fact, actually, Tom, James.
Hi,
James. James and Tom, freestyle for me for a minute while I share this out to the people in the world.
All right, James. So I have no idea what either of these armies do. Can you explain to me what the win conditions are generally for these armies? Not against each other, but how do they like to play the game?
Okay, cool. So depending on how you're looking at the table, so I would imagine Rob's in the same way. All the little dinosaurs on coloured bases. So at the top,
yes.
there's a load of little skinks. Basically, they're a screen and not much else. They can do some mortal wound output, but they're mostly a screen. So in his deployment zone, what you can see is he's got one Slan Starmaster, who's a wizard, 3-cast wizard. A Lord Croak, who's a 4-cast wizard, who's obnoxious as it comes at the moment. A Skink Starseer, who's also a caster, and you've got a Cerulith Astrolith Bearer. So all of that basically is to do magic. The Astrolith Bearer increases the range of every spell by 8 inches, I think, off the top of my head. And so you've got 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 casts per turn. What he's going to do is kind of try magic dominance, protected by that screen, but then he's also got 6 salamanders, which are like a really aggressive shooting unit that does a load of mortal wound output. So he's going to basically try and screen his defensive line or his aggressive units and then aggress from behind them and just annihilate his opponent.
So what you're saying is mortal wounds out the ass, right? With a big screen to protect your mortal wound output. That sounds cool. So how do we think the Chaos Army is going to try and deal with all those mortal wounds?
I'm back. I can help you out if this helps. It should be live on Twitch. There you go. It should be live on Twitch. So this is a very unique army, and like we talked about, Tom, a little bit unlike 40k to some degree. The thing, just running through what's in this Seraphon list there. There you can see Croak. There's the Starseer. It's basically frogs on chairs. That's what you're dealing with. Frogs on chairs.
Love it.
And those salamanders, that's loads of output. The range of the Astrolith Banner Bearer actually adds 6 inches. So Croak on a Balewind gets an additional 12 inches to his 10-inch spell, so that's 22 inches. And then he can cast it through the skink, which up to a maximum of 12 inches away. So you've got a 34-inch effective range on that mortal wound output, which is just bonkers. So basically, he's kind of he's a Thunderfire Cannon, Tom. But it's just the worst. But the army's up against the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, which you saw play in the last game And it's just a rad list. It's got 3 lots of 10 demonettes, which are just screens. They're super cool. But the way you form this army is quite unique compared to some of the other armies. It's found in the Wrath of the Everchosen. It's just literally 2 pages of rules. And the 2 keywords that you need. So if you're building a Maggotkin army like Nurgle, you need the keyword Nurgle. Seraphon, you need keyword Seraphon, obviously. But for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, you need keyword Chaos and keyword Demon. Now, there's some quite unique units in the kind of Chaos Grand Alliance, like this Vermin Lord Corruptor. So even though he's a Skaven, he's actually a Demon of Chaos, because Skaven are Chaos in this.
Chaos now, yeah.
Yeah, it's Chaos. So everything in here has the keyword Chaos and the keyword Demon. And that's really important because the 2 bonuses that you get for being Legion of Chaos Ascendant is you get a 6+ DPR save on every model in the army. Like, doesn't have to be in range of anything, just 6+ DPR. And the command trait, so like the Warlord trait on the General here, who is the big Skaven, the Verminlord Corruptor, he has got the Ruinous Aura. So all Chaos Ascendant Demon units wholly within 8 inches add +1 to their DPR save. So effectively a 5+ DPR for everything within 8 inches of him. So that means that Kairos, who's behind him, who's got a pretty good armor save but has never really been able to take mortal wounds, so that's the big bird there, has now got a 5+ DPR. He's got 1 himself, so he has 2, because in Age of Sigmar at the minute it's not been retconned that you can't do a double DPR save. So he's got a 4+ armor save, 5+ DPR, 5+ DPR. So
wow.
He's, crazy survivable. And then the unit in front of him, the 12 Kadai, big hitting Chaos Dwarf unit, 5 attacks each, 4 wounds each. They've got a 5+ ethereal save, so that means it ignores rend, so a 5+ ward save. And then they've also now got a 5+ DPR. So
that's pretty cool.
So their ability to take mortal wound is some of the best in the game. To answer that question, I know it's a long way of answering it, but
no, it's good. So realistically, how scared does this Chaos list, with all of its DPR attempts, have to be of these mortal wounds that are coming out from the Seraphon here? Equally, how are they going to get at all those wizards? Do they maybe have too much mortal wounds, and are the skinks too much for this Chaos army to get through, do you think?
Great question. James, any thoughts? Any thoughts?
I think, so those Kadai are super fast, so they can move, they can run, and they can charge, and then their damage output is huge.
And
There's
they fly.
Yeah, and they fly. And there's a spell from the Verminlord Corruptor that allows them to do Death Frenzy, but it's not Death Frenzy. That's just another spell, which basically means every time they die, if they're in combat, they also get to pile in and fight.
Yeah,
so that's pretty strong.
That's very strong, because these guys are super tough to deal with anyway, these Kadai, for most armies. Now, the good thing, the thing that you want, I played competitively, Tom. I played the Fireborn for over a year, so and it's a 580-point unit, so it's 25% of this army. Is that you want a lot of shots. You want a lot of shots that they can't ignore, because what the Kadai want to fight is monsters. They want to fight big units that can just that they can ignore half of their output basically, because they've got that 5+ ethereal save. So even if you've got Rend 7, they're still going to get a 5+ armor save, and then they'll get the DPRs after. So that's these guys are the big bits. But what we saw last game is this cheeky little Gaunt Summoner is going to put down 10 pink horrors, which are effectively 50 ablative wounds on the board. And every turn, one of these Chaos Demon heroes, one of these 3 Chaos Demon heroes, can roll 3 dice. If they roll a 10 or more, they can put down another 10 pink horrors, and that is every turn.
That sounds amazing. So realistically, we've talked about how the Chaos is going to try and win this game with their speed and their durability and what have you. How many turns realistically do we think the Seraphon have to buy to be able to grind out enough mortal wounds to really cause this Chaos army some problems?
It's actually interesting because again, great question, great guy. Can I just answer something that's in the chat? This tournament is a competitive tournament for a win. It's only a one-dayer, but there are people competing from all over the world. There's some Finnish fellas, there's a Canadian, there's some English folks, so there's some Aussies, so there's people travelling from all over. The answer is, Tom, that it's all about the battle plan that we're playing. And James, we're playing Star Strike, right?
We are indeed.
Do you want to tell?
So-
Do you want to go on?
Oh yeah, let me give you a little recap. So, Star Strike, basically on turn 1, generally realistically, Star Strike is a staring match. No one does anything, and everyone looks at each other. And then, so on turn.
Hold on, though. Some people don't do that, and they're idiots.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But that's what you should do. So,
Yeah.
there will be 3 objectives which you can see on the left-hand side of the board if you look in the same way, which are the little objective rings. And what you'll find is that at the end of turn 2, one of those will fall from the sky. It's randomized by a dice roll. So it'll depend how they're breaking it down, but there are 12 locations now where that objective can land. And that will land there. And then on turn before turn 3 starts, 2 more will land, one in each player's half of the board. And when you cap them, they're each just worth a point. So you're kind of weighing up what you're capping and where it falls. So you don't want to commit your whole army to one location, and then them both fall the other side of the board, basically.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting because especially some lists, like this is a really interesting meta mission because some lists are designed really based on how they're mechanically put together on alphaing, whether that be alpha shooting or alpha combat. Now some of those lists, because normally alphaing requires high mobility to be able to achieve, they are kept off the board, or like you can stave off whenever you're going to commit your whole force, right? So most armies will sit back. The mistake is to normally commit because, like James said, you don't know where the objectives are going to be. So right now it's just staring competition. What's interesting about both of these two armies, though, is they kind of want that to happen because they'll snowball a little bit. Because, like we've talked about, both the Legion of Chaos army is going to be able to put maybe 10 pink horrors on a turn, definitely because of the Gaunt Summoner, but might be able to put an additional 10 on per turn. And honestly, it doesn't matter how much output that you can get from the Seraphon, you might not be able to get through enough of that if you commit too late, which is really interesting. However, there is also summoning available from the Seraphon as well, so they're going to be able to put at least 10 skinks on the board a turn because of their summoning points. They generate a random amount, so D3 from the Astroloth Banner Bearer, D3. So they do have a random amount, but you're probably going to see them just putting more and more skinks on the board and then doing chip damage because they've got some global spell range. So Lord Croak and the Slan have got a spell. You can only cast it once, and he's potentially going to do mortal wounds into these key characters at the back of the board. Also, they can teleport these salamanders, which will delete pretty much anything. So overall, it's going to be an interesting first turn, which I think is being taken by the Seraphon, James. Am I right?
Yep. Yeah, so he's readjusting some bits and pieces that he's managed to knock over.
The classic tabletop simulator I call put my model flat going on there. I do have a question about the mission, though, because I'm trying to understand the game myself, and I'm sure people at home will be as well. So, with this mission of Starfall, would it not ideally be a great scenario if you can take your army and whack it in the center of the board? That way you have less distance to go to the objectives compared to where you are now. I understand that you might get hit back. Is that maybe too much for most of these armies to deal with if they were to do that?
Yeah, so you...
Yeah, go on.
So
No,
your
you go.
issue basically would be, so if, let's just say, so I'm the little pink hand, so you hopefully can see what I'm doing. So if he commits his whole army, say, to the center of the board, all he's got to do is pin him in with all those screens, and then he can walk around to every other point while his army spends turn after turn after turn. Because if all 3 objectives drop on one side, he can just walk there, hold him in the middle with his screen, and waste his turns. And because you're only scoring 1 point per objective, it basically means that once you're ahead, it's really hard to catch up.
Yeah, it's also like some of the units are very, very fast and mobile, but some aren't. And so where the objectives land, both of these armies have got some fairly fast units, so it's not overly an issue. But even just being in the center doesn't mean it gives you command of the board, because you aren't necessarily going to be able to get to something that's in the back left-hand or bottom right-hand objective. And also, as we've pointed out here, there aren't many big hitters, so there aren't things that can... Now, the Kadai are going to be fantastic at going through skinks. They are going to love eating skinks up for dinner, so they're a really good unit against skinks. Terrible against the Star Drakes that we saw last turn, but great against skinks. But they're pretty much the main brunt of this Legion of Chaos Ascendant army. Whereas there isn't like there's a lot of damage that can come out from the Seraphon. Like those 2 units of salamanders hitting in can do some really solid work, but I don't think there's enough of that. They maybe over 2 turns, those 6 salamanders could delete the Kadai, but my money's on no. Go on.
So Crate jumps on his Balewind. He's thrown an Arcane Bolt and a second spell at the Gaunt Summoner. Arcane Bolt did 1 mortal wound. The second spell, it did 2 mortal wounds. The second spell, I think, put 4 through, and he managed to roll 3 saves. So the Gaunt Summoner is down to 3 of 6.
Yeah, so the Gaunt Summoner is almost dead. But the really interesting thing about the Gaunt Summoner part is Gaunt Summoner costs 260 points when he's on a disc. If he survives 1 turn, he can put a 200-point unit on the board for free. And then if he stays alive, you've got a 2-cast wizard running around doing that. But in reality, the Gaunt Summoner's main job is as a delivery system for that 200 points. That's the only it's not his main job. His main job is to be a 2-cast wizard. But he's to be a 2-cast wizard.
You want to get at least 2 turns out of him, I'd say.
Yeah, but it's. I don't know. So War Machine says, having watched the last game, we saw this army play last, this Legion of Chaos Ascendant army. We actually didn't see it lose a single model other than summoned pink horrors.
Yeah.
I thought 40k had a balance problem. What happened here?
No, sometimes it's more rock, paper, scissors. It's interesting though, right?
I'm not sure it was even... I don't know if I'd say the balance was wrong. So there were just 2 armies that weren't going to do a lot of damage output.
Yeah, whereas this isn't the case with the Seraphon. But the Seraphon do more, especially from Croak, he does more elite damage output. You're going to be you could potentially do 4d3 mortal wounds into a single unit, and then additional 2d3 mortal wounds into the rest of an army, which sounds phenomenal. But this the Vermin Lord, the Vermin Lord Corruptor, is going to tank that maybe for 2 turns. And the Kadai will tank it as well. So there's 48 wounds in that Kadai unit with a 5-up, 5-up. They are going to be...
That's a lot of wounds.
It's a lot of wounds. I don't know what the math is on that, but it's strong. But what's good about the Kadai, or how I use them, is their job is to just be what gets hit. Yeah? And then if there's 20 skinks... the Thurpidin... Oh, the Predin. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that, loads. That's great. But we're in the Seraphon phase now, anyway. In the hero phase.
And there goes the Seraphon turn.
Well, is that just all over?
Yeah. He moved. He cast some spells. He moved. He ended his turn.
You guys really weren't wrong when you said it was a complete standoff here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I maybe would have used some of the skinks to have created myself more of a screen, but as you can see here, he's got a double screen. He's got 1 layer and then another layer. Little cheeky thing about the Kadai, and I haven't done the measurements, is they've got their weapons are range 3. So so they actually will be able to hit the front line of skinks, but they'll be able to attack the back line of skinks.
So if a Kadai here was to go forward to try and hit that front line and then take the center like I was talking about, because they're going second, is there the possibility that you may try and do that because you may get the double turn?
Yeah, you could. Now, especially for someone who's newer to Age of Sigmar, but I know you've heard me talk about it before. So I know it's a loaded question, but I appreciate you asking. It's a bit of a new starter move. The idea that you could just maybe get the double is more of a get out of jail free card attempt rather than
something you rely on.
Yeah. You generally tend to find. I just spoke to Owen during the break when he played Aaron, who we're seeing with the Seraphon now. He ended up losing a Bloodthirster and his screen on the first turn. So then because he measured some distances wrong. So instead of just playing more casually, he just slung it all forward because sometimes it's a bit of a Hail Mary, and it pays off and it doesn't.
It's whether or not you need to take those odds to win the game. If you feel like that's the best chance, the only chance you have to win this matchup is to go for the double turn, and then you get it, that's when you can really look at saying, okay, maybe it was worth it.
Whereas it shouldn't be your main plan. It should be
No. It's not consistent. It's not consistent. But sometimes you're in a matchup where you're saying, okay, a 1 in 3 chance is maybe my best chance to win this game. If I win this game 1 out of 3 times, that's probably better than just not going for 1 out of 3 chance at all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. But in this situation, he doesn't need to, because again,
No.
committing early on the first turn in Star Strike is the noob move. Like if you're
Okay,
playing
that at
Star,
home.
never do that. If you're in Star Strike and you're like, I'm gonna go in, just be like, listen, don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, wrong.
All right.
Oh,
I
what's
kind of want to
happened?
see the Kadai go straight forwards now, though. I kind of want to see it. That'd be exciting. It wouldn't be good, but it would be exciting. I'd like to see it.
I should go forward.
Yeah.
Artio Adam thinks that they should go
well,
forward.
The average of Star Strike is so average dice in 2 rolls is a 7, which will put it right in the middle. So on average, you're looking at putting the objective in the middle anyway. So you want to get control of that center thing anyway. And if he stays where he is, then the skinks can just swarm forward, and then he's not got half a chance of getting the objectives anyway.
Well, so the
really
really interesting thing about the skinks specifically, we'll also talk about some of the spell loadouts as well. In the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, they've got a spell which is effectively Death Frenzy or Fight Upon Death, is effectively what it is. Oh, Sral, thanks for subscribing. And that is a really great spell. But they've also got Fly, and they've got 3-inch range. So unless he uses those skinks particularly well, because the skinks are on 25mm bases, you can put a Kadai on one side and a Kadai on the other side, and they're still in coherency. So unless he screens phenomenally, you'll be able to string them out and maybe blitz. They've got 5 attacks each of Kadai that do D3 damage. They're really good. So you can just ham a load of stuff in one turn, and if you get hit back by anything, they're going to be able to fight again on top. So I think it's a mistake to just sling them in early, but we'll see.
I know all about how much you can do with 3 inches, but it also looks like we've got back here. We've had the Chaos have summoned a load of horrors on this side. What's the thought process, do you think, behind putting them on this right-hand side rather than putting them somewhere else?
It's just where the Quad Summoner is. Like, it has to be
You don't
wholly
have a
within
good
9.
range.
Yeah, it has to be wholly within 9.
Okay.
And effectively, he didn't want to put everything, I think, in the centre. And that's it, really.
Oh.
Oh, are you okay? What's happened?
Yeah, so he's just thrown, so I'm going to apologise, I couldn't hear the spell, but he threw a spell through the spell portal and took the Skink Priest off in one spell sweep of 6 more all in.
That poor Skink Priest. Who cast that spell? He's on a roll today.
That'd be Kairos.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kairos, what a beast. That was powerful. So I'm guessing the spell portal allows you to get extra range on your spell cast, right? So what you've been able to do is stick that in the centre and really try and pick off some characters. And why is he going for that particular character rather than going for any of the screen early?
Because that is going to... So he did it on the Skink Star Seer or the Star Priest?
There was a Skink Priest just in there, I think.
All right,
Unless-
so it's... so the Skink Priest specifically is because Croak, who's on the Balewind, who adds, as we've seen, on the Balewind, adds 6 inches. The Astroloth Banner Bearer nearby adds 6 inches to his spell range, 22. He can cast through the Skink Star Priest, giving him an additional 12 inches to his kind of AoE spell. So he's picked him off and he's reduced his ability to affect the whole board. Now, unfortunately, the Seraphon are going to be able to summon a new Skink Star Priest at one point.
What's all this summoning in this game? Killing things doesn't mean anything to you people, does it?
You do. You've got to work really hard to kill stuff. LLV, this is the Sousa Demon list, and is it winning? We're not sure. It's up against the Croak list and the Sally, so it's going to be interesting. And it also potentially reduces how much CP is coming in. So stratagem points in 40k obviously are built at game building, but in this, you start off with CP, and then you can generate more CP. If we actually look, Aaron's already on 4 command points. Croak generates roughly 1.5 a turn. There's the chance to generate more. The Slander will generate 1 a turn on average. So there's honestly like loads of command points going to be in the Seraphon, which they can use for a variety of things. So actually, as the game goes on, the Seraphon kind of power up as well, all of their utility. They can make units run extra, they can make units reroll 1s to hit, they can make units reroll 1s to wound. So there's a load of opportunity here for the Seraphon to build up kind of like a powder keg under them. But that's also true for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, because in a minute, explodes on 6s on the Kadai. Is that true? What spell was that being cast? Let's go find out. Spirit Gorge.
Does that mean they're going aggressive, Rob?
No. They're not going in.
Worth a try.
It's being measured.
Oh, shut up! He's not.
Go on. Do what? Go on, Beth. I believe in you. Oh, he's just edging forward, so he's just out of range of that Bellwind Vortex. He's not going full ham. He's just getting a little bit of pressure down, ready to take that center.
They had a load of debate about what spells there were, the Horde Killer, how much damage you could turn out kind of to him. So he's kind of playing it safe, but he's given them Exploding Sixes.
Yeah, how's he done that? You've gone quiet, James. Can't hear you.
So what I was saying was that basically he's gone 4 Exploding Sixes, but he doesn't seem to be charging them forwards.
How did he get Exploding Sixes on the Kadai?
There must have been a cast in there.
Oh, but I can't see it. I can't see the spell that does it. Is the real answer. That's what's making me upset. I didn't know you could do that, because that makes them even better.
I might be wrong, but they might just be using a token as a reminder.
Yeah, I don't think that they have Exploding Sixes. If I knew a way to get that, I'd be super excited. But I can't see that being particularly likely. Yeah, thank you. They don't have Exploding Sixes. No, I don't think they do. They might have reroll 1s. They might just have reroll 1s as a save.
I mean, there's a token for that.
So this is a liar. This is the unhonest, token.
The dishonest wargamer.
Yeah, just scribble that right out. I think they've got reroll 1s to hit. I think that's what they've got.
Okay.
So after they're summoned, these pink horrors are able to still move. So again, applying some pressure.
Is that because you summon in the hero phase, and then in the movement phase you can then take that unit and do whatever you want with it?
Yeah, I actually only learned that today, Tom. I honestly thought that that would have been written straight in that you can't do that. But
that's okay, Rob. You've just been hamstringing yourself for years, and now you've learned a new trick. It's all right. Now you'll be even better at this game, dude.
I'm not sure. Big Twitch chat and everyone watching live. Who do you think is going to take this game out? This is very much an on-meta game, in my opinion. This is a very unique army list at the bottom, as talked about. A bit of a Bill Sue's list, but the Legion of Chaos Ascendant definitely amongst a conglomerate of my mates. A thing we've been talking about a lot. Against Seraphon, which is the new starter face roll army. And I mean that in the nicest way. You know.
All right. I'll tell you who I think is going to win, Rob. I think the Chaos Ascendant is going to win this game because they've got big, cool toys, whereas the Seraphon pretenders have to rely upon magical scenery pieces to look like they've got big toys. I don't believe them. They're sneaky.
They haven't even brought their scenery piece with them. They haven't even brought
it with them, and it's tilted. It's not even deployed properly. It's a disgrace. These big toys munch on some small chameleon skinks.
So they're about to roll for the Star Strike?
We are about to... Okay, so this is the end of... So what happens is the Star Strike lands first, and then they roll priority. So we'll see where it lands on the board. It will land...
He rolled a 9 to see if he summoned extra pink.
Oh, good. I needed to find that out. That was important. So effectively, this army could summon 50 pinks over the course of a game. They've just missed the first turn opportunity to summon 10 pinks, which would have been really massive this early to have that, especially for who's going to commit in the first turn, if that makes sense. So he hasn't summoned 10 more pink horrors for free, but he can try every turn that he's got a character alive, which is pretty wild.
That just sounds disgusting to me. 10 free pink horrors, that's just not reasonable, is it?
Every turn, but he does have to roll
free.
10 plus.
Why is it free? Not fair.
No, it's not fair. You kind of get used to the summoning at some point. I don't know. If you listen to the Age of Sigmar 2 review show, I was like, this is bullshit. But then after a certain amount of time, I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever.
It's all bullshit. Everyone's got it. It's fine. Yeah.
It's still bullshit.
Yeah.
There he is.
It still is bullshit. It's true.
I'm just going to every so often chime in with a little quip. No.
I'd like to point out that I told them where that was.
The what?
They didn't listen.
Oh, have you helped them?
Oh, so close. Look at
that. So the battle plan is Star Strike, if you people are watching at home. So Star Strike is what we're playing. We're into turn 2 now. So we're about to see the priority roll landed. So it's it's landed next to those pinks. So Adam, didn't you say it would land in the middle? Because it's not near the middle, bro.
I think you're blind, mate. That's basically the middle.
Yeah. It's the middle of my screen. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Is a priority roll?
Here we go.
Also, if you were playing eels, you'd have enough move.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't. That's not
Oh.
a proper roll. That's rubbish.
It's gone to the Legion of Chaos Ascendant.
That would have been double turn, wouldn't it?
Can't hear.
They've got the choice, but
Well.
unless they wanted to, I'd give it away. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. I think.
I tell you what, Rob.
Yeah.
He should have gone for the aggression, shouldn't he? He just got double turn. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. If he'd known he was going to roll that 6,
Exactly,
would have been perfect,
Tom.
wouldn't it? Unfortunately,
Exactly.
he's just ruined himself. I'm
gonna
better
do
at this game than these guys. Come on.
I'm going to build you an 80 Sigmar army where you just run forward turn 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Someone
no.
moved the table.
What happened there? Someone's got very mad.
It's okay. It's reset.
Okay. I
Table
tell you what,
flip
though,
for the
Rob.
win.
Even though the Chaos Army did not get to summon a second squad of Pink Horrors here, but one squad it has summoned is very efficient with where it's placed on that border, right next to that Star Strike objective marker.
It is, which is why I would give it away, because in this situation, I think now this is just a quick snapshot thought, but my thoughts are now the Seraphon player has to commit to do something about where it is, and then you get to counter play on that, as opposed, or it depends what you want to do. Do you want to control the ball?
Seraphon had taken been given the turn, I believe.
There you go. Boom. Yeah, because what he has to now go and engage on that flank where those pink horrors are, which means you've still set up potentially to take the double, but he might have to make himself vulnerable in order to activate into the pinks. So he has to do something. That's the cool thing about objective-based gaming over anything else is you have to. The other person in the game is the objective. It's making him. He can't just sit there for the whole game and be like, "Hit me, bro." He has to be like, "Right, well, you're going to score definitely this turn, so I have to start dealing with it." Which means you have to risk something. Which means there's some for the reward of the points. So it's a great mechanic. But I think giving away the turn was probably the right call. But I'd love to know what the Twitch chat think. James, what would you have done?
Yeah, I think like Star Strike's such a weird one, isn't it? And actually, you want the double turn the next turn, so taking the turn takes that away. He's already on the objective. He's already forcing the fight. So I think.
Oh no, he's
personally,
taken
it
the
would
turn.
be-
Because I've just seen the
No.
move.
No, so that movement was something that they think they lost when the table reset.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, so
they were just
Seraphon is still
moving it
taking
around.
it. Sorry, keep making
Yeah.
your point then. Apologies.
Yeah, so I think like for me, like he needed that given away. He wants the double turn next turn. He's only got to weather a bit of a storm.
Yeah, Tom, this is really a good example of what you were discussing when you were talking about the start about getting aggressive and going into the center. And like Studio Us was saying in the middle, in the chat, is he set up as if he's going to lose the dice roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Prepare
why
for the worst but hope for the best kind of mentality, right?
exactly, and it's where Age of Sigmar becomes a beautiful strategic game. Like, in my opinion, for the people and anyone who's never played it more than like it's just double turns, that's where they don't understand the game. Is he set up to not go next, yeah, but still giving himself in like he's on the line, right? He's like as close as he can be. He's asked a question, what's the range? Yeah, 22 inches. He's like, cool.
That's
I'm
why he kept his
22.1.
Kadai just out of it, right?
Yeah, like he's there. Go on.
Yeah.
And who's just learned that this Slan has 5 casts.
Because he's on the Balewind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the important bit, right? So he won the priority roll, and then he's just gone, cool. I'm set up to not take it, so here you go. This is for you. Whereas in the other situation,
You would have had to get the right result on that.
whereas the Seraphon may have chosen to take the turn, or may have chosen not, but they also are not set up particularly well. They are because they've got teleports, right? But there's nothing the Legion of Chaos Ascendant player can do against the teleports. So sometimes you just have to let them get out of position in some cases. Or you give them the space, like you control the board. If we actually look at the board for a moment for you guys at home, he's controlled the board space here, so you can't deep strike anything behind here. There might be a space in the center for him to drop some salamanders. But at most he'll be able to drop one unit, and then the counter punch from some of these guys, whichever ones need to counter punch, should deal with the salamanders. And he wants to drag the salamanders out. He wants to get them out because they're the threats. He's just like, come here. Like, he'll never get to Croak in a billion years. He's just going to have to wait that out, but he wants the salamanders to be like launched early so he can get
And clear
grips.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, to clear them out, and then he's got to deal with chaff, basically.
Yeah. And he doesn't need to take that risk either. The entire thing with a double turn seems to be like one big risk assessment. Do I need to take this risk or not? And most of the time, well, specifically with this game, it looks like he doesn't need to do that. With the Seraphon, though, what do you think Seraphon should be looking to hit here? Do they go straight for those Kadai, or do they even not try and hit at all? They play a bit more conservatively. They just move a little bit further up, ready for a future turn where maybe they can just hit something very, very hard and try and get a double turn or something like that? Or is it worth going for some bits of chaff, stop the Chaos Ascendant from trying to score some objectives, or try and clear out some of those big hitters in the centre like the Kadai?
I don't know, to be honest. It's a tough one. The thing he needs to do is not overcommit the salamanders. He can run a unit of 10 skinks onto this objective right here, and he can score a point. Yeah. So far, that's the only thing he has to do, and maybe that's all I'd do. I just put them there, and I'd trade, and I'd be like, "That's for you, son. Off you go." Like, and that's it. Like, just do a quick turn, flip it back. Because I mean, and he could maybe push out a tiny bit with the skinks on the front line potentially. But the only thing he has to do... Oh, wait, are we seeing the pinks move? Or is that wrong?
No, so... Sorry, you're a Natterin. So the Croak's dropping his comet. He's killed the Gaunt Summoner. Did 3 mortal wounds. None saved. And he's just killed 3 pink horrors.
Right, okay. So he's just done his global spell. So it's infinite range, that
Now got
spell.
2 more. Chorus is taking 1. And then the Corruptor is taking 3.
Let it be known, I have won the Chaos Player, says Swanoric. Thank you, Swanoric.
While we're here, Rob, I just want to say I can't wait to see the pink horrors fight the skinks, so I can listen to you talk about the pinks versus the skinks repeatedly for a few minutes. I think that's going to be great fun.
The pink slips. Yeah, the skink slips. Yeah, okay. War Machine reckons you just ease some skinks onto the objective, do a little shooting, pick up some summoning command points, and then hand it over. Yeah, so if you actually look, doing the comet there has meant he's been able to put some. Maybe I'd have put some of the blues on the objective as opposed to taking off some of these. But the problem is the banner is the one that's there, so he probably doesn't want to do that. What he probably wants to do is replace the 2 that are closest to the objective and put the blues there, because every pink that's destroyed becomes 2 blues, and then outnumber him. And killing the Gaunt Summoner is good because you've just got rid of one of those Chaos characters. So, nothing that could be done there. And Croak is going to do that every turn, by the way. He's just going to do D3 mortal wounds on so Kairos has taken 2 wounds now, and the Corruptor has taken 3 wounds already. Wow. And that is every turn. That's why everyone thinks Croak is so offensive, because all he does is sit there and just do mortal wounds for 5 turns. Infinite range, almost guaranteed cast every single turn. Doesn't it's just awful. And then if you come within 22 inches of him while he's on the Balewind and with the other fella nearby, the Ashloth Bannerbearer, you're going to take another D3 mortal wounds. So support characters that are 5 or 6 wounds in this game just aren't going to survive beyond turn 2 against Croak, which is horrible, right?
Yeah. Also, he's basically a cartoon frog, which we all know is terrifying and incredibly offensive. So,
it's hilarious.
It is. But equally, we haven't really seen too much movement from the Seraphon this turn. Do you think that's a right call?
Well, he's not there yet. He's still casting. He's got 1.
Oh, he's still casting? My word. Okay.
This frog's got more spells than Magnus.
More spells with a Grey Knight Psychic Phase. Goodness me. Can you stick a Balewind Vortex on top of another Balewind Vortex and just make one massive tornado? Cast even more spells.
There was like a couple of days where we thought you could, but we don't want to talk about that. Okay. And also, yes. Normally, the D3 mortal wounds. Thank you, Swan. That's done to in AOE from Croak is done. It's D3. However, when it's against Chaos, flat 3 mortal wounds coming in here, into this 22-inch bubble. But
wait. Sorry, what you're telling me is Chaos get loads of DPRs, which is great against mortal wounds, but equally the Seraphon get more mortal wounds for their output, for their value, than normal because they're against Chaos. So what you're saying is this entire game is going to be a bloodbath full of DPR rolls.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of mortal
Wow.
wound. What's interesting is it's a lot of mortal wound output and a lot of mortal wound saves. So really, that's the answer is what survives. But as we've talked about, Kairos and the Vermin Lord are already starting to get chipped away. But they've still got 2 or 3 turns of living. But it's whether or not they get chipped low enough that it's that committing those salamanders to just finish them off might get them. That's the big drama. What we might see.
So really what we're looking for is to see when exactly Aaron is going to go with these salamanders and what he's going to get. And that's the big to-go turn for him. And if he can get a lot of work done with that turn, then he's doing well. But otherwise, we need to just look for that and see when that comes in. Is that the case?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
like,
look at me learning, mate.
Well, to be honest, it's not. It's more what you do in this situation, than what it does sometimes. But it's still honestly a really interesting game. I'd love to know what everyone in the Twitch chat's thinking and feeling. James, what are you thinking so far? How are the players feeling?
Yeah. So this is the end of the movement phase. So he's just used 10 summoning points to bring summon a salamander.
Oh my god!
And then he's going to teleport that salamander at the back.
Yep. So there you go. So that summoning, it's like, see, this castle is getting better as time goes on because so far he's committed nothing. Apart, it's just outrageous.
So many free things. It's like, just free things everywhere, mate. Might as well. You get more models that way, don't you? Have to go buy 20 more skins.
And you see that? See, there's the threat. He's looking to take Kairos out, right? Like I said, he's.
Oh wow! Do you think he can do it? Do you think it's worth doing?
Yeah, he's shooting Kairos.
Math-wise, he should drop 1 and not actually kill him. But he does have the actual output to kill Kairos. Whether or not he will kill Kairos is different. To be fair, though, Kairos has been a dick for a long time. I don't mind him dying. He's kind of been on everyone's shit list
even
for a very long time.
Even in 2010 in 40k, that guy has been a dick. Like everywhere in the
yeah,
massive
he just
asshole.
sucks. He just I've had that arrow on the screen for ages. I'm sorry, dudes. Yeah, if you guys have been enjoying it, I just want to say a big thank you for being here. Wherever you're watching from. It's sweet that people have joined us today for this. I didn't think as many people would find this as exciting as they have done, but it's been sweet that people have turned up.
Okay, so I think we missed something there, but the shot either didn't go off or he didn't shoot, and he instead, with the summoned salamander, charged.
Right, well, Salamander's actually decent in fight, really decent in fight, but he didn't shoot. That seems like a mistake. He definitely would have shot.
I feel like he might have missed.
I think he missed, because nothing's taken any damage. The Fate Weaver's fine, the Demonettes are fine, the Fireborn are fine, so it looks like he didn't shoot. He didn't hit. But he did charge, which is what he wants to do.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Sorry, I completely derailed you with that. This is like really bad entry.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, get him!
Yeah, these are great guys, great lists, obviously. Hello, Halalex. We've all missed this. Oh, man, we've all missed this. I kind of want to do the same for 40k, Tom. We should organise some people to do a 40k tournament. We should do the coverage. It's so fun. Like, I miss wargaming so much. Anyway.
I can run a 40k tournament. I don't
yes,
play
Adam.
40k, but I'll run it.
Adam, just run all the tournaments at this stage.
Mate, I'll just fucking run it and just drink and pretend I know what I'm talking about. I'll basically do it with this one, so...
I might play in it and then just call you in every 5 minutes to ask on a judge's decision.
Do it. I've run a 40k tournament once, and then someone asked me a rules question, and I told them to roll a dice because I didn't know what I was talking about.
Good. So we've just seen another. Kairos has been taken down 7 wounds, which, as Chris Jr. in the chat has pointed out, the fact that he's dropped down his bracket, so his spell now won't do a flat 6 mortal wounds, which is what we saw to take out the Skink Starseer earlier, right?
Yep.
Excuse me, a flat what mortal wounds?
Flat 6 mortal wounds.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, the output is. I don't know how to describe it. It's the output. Somehow the output in Age of Sigmar doesn't seem as outputty as 40k, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway.
I feel like you just bring more things back with summoning, though, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so. It seems okay. But Kairos, now he's taken that many. He has taken 7 wounds. So it means he's now only doing a flat 3 mortal wounds from his spell. And as you can see, the spell portal was unbound. So he's going to have to put that back on the board if he wants to put that back on the board. So in the war of attrition, the backline shooting, then it definitely seems like the Seraphon have it. Oh, the Salamander was also smoked by Kairos in close combat.
Smitten.
Smoten.
Yes. Smoten to smith.
Smoten off the board.
Very good.
Let's be real, Rob. 6 mortal wounds is bullshit. I don't know, man.
I mean, you're putting a lot of points to that model. So, Rob, if you're in the position of the Chaos Ascendant player here, and you're playing Chaos Ascendant,
yeah,
what do you think you'd be thinking about doing at this position?
I don't know. So you've got the mobility. I guess you keep losing. He's going to put another Salamander on the board next turn and teleport him over and attack Kairos again. Same situation. What's happened?
How many wounds
James?
has Kairos got left?
James, what's happened? Where are we at, by the way? We're in the Legion of the Chaos turn, right? First turn. Second turn.
Yeah, so he's now just measuring stuff up. So last round, the spell portal was dispelled, so I'm guessing he's just looking at re-putting that spell portal back out.
Yes.
He's just doing his measurements.
To be honest, those flat 6 mortal wounds, I'd have maybe tried to pump into the Astroloth Bannerbearer, as opposed to the Skink Priest, because that gives him the +6 to cast. I don't think that would have been a bad call, personally. So...
Yeah, that's what you want to be taking out.
Yeah, I think that would have been the right call, as opposed to taking out the Skink Star Priest. But maybe he wasn't in range, so there you go. Also, Aaron will have picked up a point there for the objective. So you could just move the pink horrors on and shoot the skinks. Then that's the only thing you have to do this game in the movement phase. Or you could throw some demonettes in and save the pink horrors if you wanted to. I don't know if I would... I still don't think I'd go in with the Kadai. They're still fine.
Boo.
They are, yeah, I know. But he could. He might want to go into 3.
He probably shouldn't. And why do you think it would be a bad idea for him to go in with the Kadai right now, Rob?
Because it's a huge committal, and if he doesn't get the next... So that's, again, relying on getting the second turn, right? Because the most he's going to do is hit those screens, and all of that output is going to come from the Salamanders and Croak. If he gets double turned with the Salamanders and Croak, which it could happen... No, he might get... There could be a turn that comes in. Will 6 Salamanders and Croak take out enough Kadai in a turn is the real question. And the answer is maybe. So I don't know why he would commit. Similarly right now, he doesn't have lots of options other than that. So I'm not 100% certain. It's a toughie. I don't know what I'd do the day I wouldn't go in. So, I mean, the thing about the Verminlord Corruptor who's behind him has to stand with the Kadai to make them even more survivable. So probably the right decision is to get the Kadai up, but make sure the Verminlord Corruptor follows them. And then it's all about sequencing that Aaron has to do for doing mortal wounds. He has to do all of his mortal wounds and damage into the Verminlord Corruptor before he does it into the Kadai. Otherwise, the Kadai just get a free save, which just seems pointless to hit them that way. But then you're not hitting the Kadai. Does that make sense? So it's quite tough. The support piece is really hard, and the Kadai really hard. So, Twitch chat. James, what would you do?
And
what's happening?
So at the minute he's going through his magic phase. And they're basically he tried to throw 2 spells through the spell portal and both failed.
Oh, that's unlucky.
But obviously Kairos is on half health now, so he's weakened.
So if we were to say that the Chaos Ascendant don't try and go for the double turn at all over the course of this game, do you think that the Skinks just grind them out?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so at some point he has to push it.
Yeah, at some point he has to push it, but you don't know when the objectives are going to be.
No, of course, totally.
For instance, 2 objectives are going to land next turn, Yeah, and if they land in the center, right where Croak is, he's laughing. Yeah. Similarly, it would be okay and decent if that also landed in the center for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant. But if it starts to land on the flanks, then we've got a real game on our hands, because those Kadai can clear most of the skinks off a flank in a turn, and all of those salamanders can't be brought to bear because their effective range is 20 inches, ignoring teleports. Is 20 inches. So if it starts to go to the flank, then this unit can't hit that side very well. That unit can't hit that side very well. So they're a bit limited. So I'd be tempted to wait at least until the objectives land. Problem is does that mean that his support characters are going to die? That's the real question. So the Kadai have a 5-up ethereal save, and they have a 5++ because they're in the Legion of Chaos Ascendant.
So I remember you talking about this earlier, so I actually went and did the maths, because they have 48 wounds, right? So in order for you to do, in total for the unit, so in order for you to kill the unit, you effectively need to wound them 108 times if you take into account both the ethereal save and the DPR with 1 damage weapons.
Right, okay. That's pretty impressive. Thanks for doing that. And also, Swan Auroric is saying that my sequencing is wrong. He would never go for the Vermin Lord instead of the Fireborn. He'd go for the Fireborn first, because they only have a 5+, whereas the Vermin Lord has a 5+, and then another 5+ DPR save. So they're like, he's tanking a third of the damage, then another third of the damage every turn. So it's going to be an interesting shout. Or is he going to commit some Salamanders? This is what we're going to see. Oh no, Legion of Chaos Ascendant, it's their turn, isn't it? We've got screwy then, sorry. It's a whole day of coverage. He can't decide. Is he taking the turn or not, James? Is he still deciding?
No. We're in the Chaos Ascendant turn.
Right, but
So he gave the turn away, didn't he? And now we're in the Chaos Ascendant's second turn casting.
But he's done nothing so far, right?
Well, he's attempted. So he's put a spell portal back down. He tried to cast 2 spells through it with Kairos. Both failed. Tried to put a spell through it with the Vermin Lord Corruptor. That's gone through, and it killed 5 skink handlers from the salamanders. So he's having a poke at those.
Okay, 5 skink handlers. All right. Well, he's okay. So he's trying to whittle down the salamanders. All right, that's a good call. Okay, that's good.
I think he whittled down the banner bearer personally, but
so we're still waiting for the movement phase. Is basically what's going on, everyone. This was a fairly slow game. Oh, here we go. Skinks, the horrors are going in, and they're going to do some shooting onto those skinks. Pretty certain. Yeah, and I agree with you as well. Only 12 wounds, and actually he's only 9 wounds left now, whereas the Kadai are 48 wounds that are ethereal with a 5-up save. I love that unit, by the way. It's obnoxiously good. Obnoxiously good. And it's
feel
cool.
So for me, I feel like the Kadai need to go forward, and if they could jump the teal skinks, you could grab the teal skinks or yellow skinks, but you probably with 3 inches be able to pile in and catch those salamanders.
Yes, but yeah, very much so. And again, like we talked about, Aaron might think it's safe. Is safe, but that 3-inch range on the weapon profile of the Kadai means they actually can reach over.
I think he'd be able to hit the Skink Starseer, the Salamanders, and almost 3 squads of Skinks if the charge roll was really good. Yeah,
so if he got to here, but the problem is that's a bit of a mistake, because if he commits so deep, he no longer has the 5+ DPR.
Right. So he could send the Corruptor up with them. Just run the Corruptor, use him for that, throw the Fireball in. Because actually then, what he's going to do means that the Seraphon's got a whole turn of committing just to deal with those, with a double 5-up, double 5-up. Or they've got to try and drop the Corruptor to then try and drop all the Fireball.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Interesting, he's throwing the Demonettes up as well over here. I like that. Yeah, it's just bodies on the board there. In case all he decides to do is run Skinks on to do the same thing, he should be able to clear off at least this. I don't know what colour to call this. The Kadai are one big blob. Yeah, they are. So he's going to keep them within range of the Corruptor. And the reason you normally see 12 Kadai for everyone at home is there 180 points for 3, or there might be 160 points for 3. But either way, you get the very last 3 in a horde discount for 40 points. So you effectively get 3 for free when you take them in a big brick of 12. So normally you see these big bricks of 12 as opposed to individual 3s.
Don't you
but
run 24?
I have once run 24, which was a fun time.
Did you charge him in?
Well, I did them in different ways. I've also run 24. I've also run 12s and a 6, and put them in the boat. I actually don't think the boat would be a terrible decision inside this army for dropping some Kadai. That's always a really fun little thing to do. Is drop the Kadai out of the boat. If you don't know, there's an endless spell called the Bringy Dingy Tom that allows you to put units in it and throw them across the board. It's like a pseudo teleport. It's not great.
Is the Bringy Dingy its scientific and official name?
Yeah, it's
because I will be searching for that later, just so you know.
The Bringy Dingy.
Okay, I'll take this now.
The Bringy Dingy is what we all call it. I'm pretty certain.
All right.
I don't know if
No, it's just you.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
What do you call
I'm
it?
not sure anyone else calls it that.
Yeah.
What do you
I
call
feel
it?
like
I call it the boat.
The boat. Okay.
I know Bringy Dingy's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like the name. I also kind of feel like Rob's got a habit of just going for armies because they're expensive. First of all, he gets a mech gun army, and second of all, he gets 24 Kadai Fireborn for some reason. Okay, then, good luck. Enjoy your army.
We all need to remember that Rob had a habit of getting expensive.
Oh,
armies.
had an habit. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Now Rob has a habit of eating jam sandwiches and being poor.
he does have a habit of doing that.
Oh,
I
interesting!
like
Look at this! Look at this movement. Here we go. So he's flipping it, which is not a great idea if all the objectives now land on the left-hand side. But he's committing to the centre. And again, you know what we talked about, those salamanders at the top left?
We love it.
Those can't come to bear this turn. And Croak also... Oh, I see what he's doing.
What's happening with this model? Is that a Kadai stood on top of a Kadai, stood on top of a Kadai? That's a tongue twister and a half.
Well,
Look at that.
They've got the fly keyword. That's legal.
I feel like he's just doing that to compete with Croak. I wonder who's taller here. Let's pan across. So we've got the triple Kadai Fireborn stack. Look at that. That's beautiful. I'm going to just level up to the height. There we go. And then I'm going to pan across. Oh, it depends on whether you count the totem statue on top of Croak's big old forehead. If you count that,
wearing a hat, right?
taller. Yeah,
it's just a hat. To be honest, that's for an elf. That's actually a fairly small hat.
I mean, I've seen the Luminef. I know.
For an elf, that's not even a small hat. It's not even a hat.
That's a flat
Too
cap.
small.
You got your flat cap on today, Bill.
Yeah.
Would you
No,
like
I'm
an
not.
update
I'm not
from
having
the update?
Northern
Yeah,
culture appropriated. by you
I'd
people.
love an update, please, Adam. Tio, the rest of the tournament's happening. Please let us know what's happening.
Is there a tournament happening? Oh yeah. So I've already had one result actually. So someone has finished their game in under an hour.
Okay.
And that was the Sylvaneth. They lost. Yeah, the Sylvaneth lost against the Legion of Chaos Ascendants. So that game did not go very well for them. On the top 4 tables, so table 1, 2, 3, and 4 all have Seraphon on, which is just great. But table 1 is Seraphon versus Deepkin, and the Seraphon is playing super defensively, and they said they've got some jank up their sleeves, and I didn't believe them until they showed me that Croak is unchargeable. He has made his Croak unchargeable because of the garrison rules.
Okay, I would like.
Nice game, guys.
If you could get that written down and explained to us later, I would like to hear the how and why of that.
It's stupid, but yes, I know how he's done it, and it's ridiculous, and they really need to rewrite that fucking rule.
Okay, can I want to hear what's happening in the rest of the tournament, but in big news in this game, another 10 pink horrors have been summoned using the Legion of Chaos Ascendant special ability Unyielding Legions. So that is another 50 wound unit on the board. Like
yes.
Like he's like Kairos is just I fucking Croak, and he's like I'll summon a salamander. He's like 10 pink horrors, bitch. Yeah, it's like oh shit. There's a lot of that's horrible.
He's clearly not very nice.
No.
How's he doing that out of interest now that his Gaunt Summoner's gone?
So the Gaunt Summoner is on. Oh no, go on, James. You go, please.
So the Gaunt Summoner, as his War Scroll, allows him to bring 10 Pink Horrors on, or 10 Demon. Well, basically 10 of any Chaos Demon, once per game. But the Legion of Chaos Ascendant allows, at the end of the movement phase, you roll 3 dice. If you roll a 10 or above, any Chaos Demon hero on the board can just summon 10 any Chaos Demon. So he basically stacked it already with a load of extra summoning. So he can still summon as long as the Vermin Lord Corruptor lives, and as long as the Kairos lives.
And with his double DPR, that's going to be a long time with the Vermin Lord specifically, right?
Hopefully for them, yeah. So 7 skinks have just been shot by Pink Fire, or whatever it's called.
Splat. Not a bad output at all.
So we're doing some shooting. Pink Horrors, although some have died and are now blue, so they start with 30 shots per 10. So there's a lot of shooting.
Adam, are you still here?
Yes.
Could you find out if you put Croak on top of the garrison while putting another unit in the garrison?
Therefore, no, so what he's done is the garrison terrain that the Seraphon has is put in the corner of the board.
Yeah.
So there's a little space in the corner of the board still where Croak can fit.
Yes.
And then he's put a unit inside the garrison, and because you can't charge a garrisoned, or you can't move over a garrisoned building or touch a garrison building, his Croak is unchargeable. If that makes any sense. It's really weird to explain if you can't see it.
Okay.
So basically, you can't charge Croak without getting within a certain distance of the garrison, and therefore, as you can't charge the garrison, you can't
pretty
charge
much.
Croak.
It's stupid, but hilarious.
Okay, that's a really interesting one. Thank you for that. I'm going to talk about that. I love. Sometimes you have to play it to see it, or someone's worked it out, and you have to just wait for them to do it, and then you go, "Listen, I really respect that you've done it, but we're going to ban that forever now. Can't do that."
No, we're not going to ban it. You should keep doing it. It's hilarious.
No, we're banning it.
Long live the jank.
Long live the jank. Yeah, sideways movement. Right, so we're into. That's the end of the turn.
Yeah, so we're currently doing the Star Strike rolls.
Okay, here we go. So this is where the new objectives are landing, and that I don't think if that could have landed more perfect actually for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant player. I don't know what you guys think.
Oh, that's some well-landed objective markers. I'd say the one objective marker is having a bad day, I think.
Are we going to have a mosh pit in this one tiny area over here, then? Probably. That's what I like to hear.
It is going to be a bit of a mosh pit now on the left-hand side, but this has gone all Legion of Chaos Ascendant's way, right? This back objective, it's exactly where he wants it to be, because he's got now 100 wounds worth of Pink Horrors and 48 wounds of... So he doesn't have to actually do anything now. This has changed the shape of the game massively. This is ridiculous. So now Seraphon have to go aggressive because he's got 2 objectives and the Seraphon have got 1. And the Seraphon therefore are going to lose this game if they don't go and commit this turn. So I don't know if Antu is psychic and he knew this was going to land this way. Could that be a thing?
Maybe it's a priority roll?
My girlfriend earlier said that she saw a ghost. So if that's true, then psychic stuff is true, right?
I mean, the Finns are just naturally good at these kinds of games, so I wouldn't be surprised.
3 from... Oh, okay.
Ooh.
A 5.
A 5.
He's making his dice big.
Oh, it's a big dice roll. Oh, it's really important.
That's better. I like that. Oh.
Oh! There we go.
That was important. I don't know why, but it was.
Putzfrau, you can share images in chat if you want to, as long as they're Warhammer related, obviously. It's not the other channel that I set up. He's not won it. So Croak's won it, right? So the Seraphon have won the turn.
Whether he takes a turn.
He's got. Okay.
So what he's basically decided, if he doesn't take the turn, he'll never be able to actually contest the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Seraphon's taking the turn.
it's actually super unlucky for the Seraphon that the second bottom right-hand objective ended up on the right-hand side. If it had ended up in the middle or on the far left, but I guess like a third chance of just winning outright is kind of a inspired move by Antu to move on to the right-hand side there. I'm not really sure why he thought it was good, or even why his Gaunt Summoner, if you remember the beginning of the game, he was set up in like effectively a mirror, with the only thing different being the Gaunt Summoner on the right-hand side. So the only reason that there are that many pink horrors there anyway is because the Gaunt Summoner was there, and it could have just as easily been on the left-hand side, right? Yeah? No? Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
No.
Hello?
I can see it.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate you coming back.
That's all right.
I'm
I'll
still
put you
here. I
back.
just don't know how to answer the question. It's like, yes, he could
What
have
was the
randomized
question?
the objective over there.
Well, I mean, it's been effectively what I am saying is it's been lucky where he decided to put the Gaunt Summoner, because he deployed his army in like a mirror, like it was effectively a mirror, right? Like everything was centralized with units around the side, and then he decided to commit heavily on the right-hand side, and then he's been super fortunate that's where the objectives have landed, which is why sometimes people aren't a big fan of the randomized placements for the objectives. I, for one, think it's actually good sometimes. You get a better game out of it.
Or
But
was he
so-
baiting it, the Seraphon player? So if the objectives then landed on the left, the Seraphon would have had to move over quickly to get the objectives, and then he could have swarmed straight across.
Yeah, yeah. In this situation, though, he's going to have to. Aaron has to commit. Who's taken the turn, James?
So
What is the size of his cow spawn over here?
so the Seraphon is taking the turn. He's just like working out his points and stuff. And then what they realized was, I think the spell killed the Skink Priest really early on. Had the ability to spawn that Chaos Spawn from the thing it killed,
It
and
did.
he forgot to do it.
It did. It got asked in the chat. Darren in the chat was asking about it, but he forgot about it. So has he put the big Chaos Spawn there to remind him for next time?
Yeah. So the giant Chaos Spawn is basically there so he doesn't forget to spawn Chaos.
I feel like I don't know if
I
anyone
mean,
else
whatever
thinks-
works, right?
Because obviously it would have meant he had a unit stuck in
I think that
all
you should
those
just.
salamanders.
I reckon everyone should just have some sort of like tournament coach that goes with them to events, and if you forget something like that, he just like slaps you really hard in the face. Don't forget, Jimmy. You got to remember to win.
I'll be a tournament coach. If you lose, you have to drink more, and if you win, you've got to drink even more.
I feel like enormous burly Russian men are about to become some of the most best paid people in the world. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's.
Have you ever seen those slapping contests?
Oh my God, no.
Have you seen
I've
that video
them,
of that
I've seen
dude
them,
where
I've
he's
seen
like
them, but I
really
don't-
puny, and he's got like he's obviously like a really tattooed guy that's like normal looking dude, and then he like slaps the big Russian man, and then the Russian man just comes back at him and he slaps him so hard there's like dust that comes off his hand. It's like.
Have you ever seen the? I suppose you won't have seen it, but old Fire Slayers, when they used to fight each other, basically were like a slapping competition. It was basically the same. Or if those skinks and pink horrors get into close combat, they'll be slapping each other as well. But it'll be pretty.
I'd pay to watch that. Sounds like good content to me.
Can we talk about the fact that this unit of Kadai that we did see last game commit and kill a Croak, but they haven't ever overcommitted, and they still haven't taken a wound either. Like they haven't been something that's been focused. They
2
haven't-
games, 3 turns, no wounds.
Yeah,
Not
zero
doing anything, bro.
wounds.
You don't need to kill him if they're just a useless unit that just sits there the entire game. Absolute wank. Look at him.
Yeah, they are. They're
Bugger
weaker than
off.
they need to be. A lot of people really enjoying this list, by the way, in the chat. I know for a fact that I've just spoken to my friend Bill over in America, who was going to bring this list for the American team to the ETC. So it'd be cool to have a chat with him about it. It's got some very cool elements, very much so. But I mean, summoning those pink horrors is mega, right? Like the fact that he's put just even 10 more is 200 points worth of summoning.
Yep.
Even 10 more. And if he does this you probably should do it. So it's the average on 3 dice is 11. So you need a 10 plus to get it. So on average, and a little bit above average, you end up getting these pink horrors out. So even if you get them three out of 5 turns, you get 600 points of summoning for just being the army that you are.
But it's not a game where you get 10, 5 sets, 50. Like, I mean, it's a game winner, isn't it?
Oh, you've won the game. Like I can't imagine a situation where you don't win, where you put 50. I mean, to be honest, it's better to get them obviously turns 1, 2, 3 than it ever is turns 4, 5.
I don't know though. I guess they could twist a turn 5 if your hero's running for an objective, and he just needs some bodies, and you manage to summon 10 on the last turn at the end of the movement. Amazing.
Yeah,
I'd risk it becoming the human embodiment of the actually meme. The odds of a on 3d6 is actually 10.5 because you have the same odds of rolling a 10, but you do an 11, so it's like a very minuscule difference in that, but it's still odds on. You should definitely roll that 10.
Yeah. Okay. So is it odds on 50%?
So the odds of rolling it's better than that because the odds of rolling a 10 or 11 are exactly the same odds on those 3 dice.
Right.
So it's better. It's definitely better than 50% in the same way that if you need a 7-inch charge, that's better than 50% because the most likely outcome is a 7.
Okay. All right. Good shout, TY. Appreciate that. James, can you just let us know what phase we're in and where we're at the minute?
So he's just targeting the pink horror unit with his spells.
So Croak is casting his spells into the pink horror unit.
Okay, so he's done the comet, so he's hit the Kadai, the Pinks, and the Demonettes, because he got 3 hits off.
Okay. Alright, so hitting the pink horrors
we're just
here.
doing the save rolls now. 3 Demonettes are going down.
Honestly, all you got to do is keep his characters alive now and just keep summoning pink horrors onto these objectives, and then you could just send the Kadai off to just go fuck with everything, really.
Yeah, it's very cool how this entire game has just swung just based on where those objectives are. Because earlier we were talking about, well, if a Chaos Ascendant player doesn't commit, then he's probably just going to get whittled down. He's not going to be able to hold on. But now that he's able to stand on these 2 objectives and just screen off, now the onus is on the Seraphon to really push into that and try and knock him off that middle objective, right?
Yeah. I think that's why this battle plan is such a staring match to begin with, because actually the more you play, you realise that this battle plan is about staring it down until you know what's going on.
If you play it right, if you commit on the first turn, it becomes a clusterfuck of a scenario.
Yeah, I mean, some people thrive in the chaos, mate. You want to run it straight down and enjoy the absolute mess that you create.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
At least if Aaron loses now, he can just say the mission's stupid.
Chaos is a ladder, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Aaron gets that now. It's a wild ride. This Aaron's got to go so ham as well with this, and the Salamander, like he's got to push with everything, with the skinks. I just don't know. He can't bring the salamanders to bear. Again, that unit of 10 over there. Or I suppose he could teleport the salamanders on the left. Then he can take the salamanders in the centre on the right and push them into the pinks. But he's got to punch through. The problem is he's got to punch through the pinks. And do you know what? He can't do it. Like, he's fucked. Like, there's no way. Like, he can't punch through all of those wounds. It's too many wounds.
What you've just missed is probably the worst Seraphon casting I've seen.
Oh, I don't mind that at all. What, has he done no wounds?
He cast once, it was dispelled. He cast again and failed on a double 1. And so he's just done a last comment call, got it off on like 13, I think, with all the pluses, and then actually only hit 2 units.
Oh.
So he's put it on the pink and the Kairos. So the Kairos is down to 6 wounds now, but I mean, he's still there, isn't he? That's the problem.
Yeah, so 6 wounds. He's still there, though. He's still going to last maybe 2 more turns.
Yep.
Kairos. This is a horrible list. It's so much fun to watch play. Look
Which
at that.
one?
Well, they're both horrible. They're both horrible. But interestingly, the Seraphon list is more hampered by its own creation. So Croak can do so much, but then you have to spend. He's a bit like your Dark Reapers, Tom. Like, you have to spend so much time protecting Croak. Like,
it's the pivot, right? You've got your strong piece that carries you, and you build everything else around it.
Exactly. And there are other strong pieces. Salamanders are super strong as well. But there's so many other points added to make Croak better in this situation. And he will carry you through a lot of games. But in this situation, where you have to commit onto different objectives, which is why I like Star Strike, again, because you can't plan for where the best castle to build is. So you have to just go and commit somewhere. So we're seeing Geminids cast. This is bound Geminids now. The most James, do you want to explain bound Geminids to Tom?
Okay, so Light Geminids is hitting everything. Dark Geminids is hitting a thing. Geminids basically does anything it passes over does D3 mortal wounds, and then depending on which Geminid, you either do -1 attack or -1 to hit. But bound, so normally end the spell, whoever basically doesn't go first at the beginning of the next priority gets to move an endless spell first, and then you take it in turn. Bound endless spells are a Seraphon special thing, where basically that never happens and no one else can ever move them. So there's no kind of risk to casting them, which was obviously the original point with endless spells. So they're a bit of a bone of contention, I would say, in Unity at the moment.
Yes, they are. They are, because like the fun interplay, the interactivity was always you would cast an endless spell, and then if I went first in the priority roll, that meant someone else could move the endless spells. Now that in Seraphon, that's taking away. So that interactivity is just removed from the game. And so those Geminids now are just going to wander around this area eating everything. But thankfully Kairos is there. Kairos is literally a bird who eats spells. So he's got his mouth open, already hungry for dinner. And he's got a spell called Spell Eater, which means he's going to automatically eat up those Geminids. So just that's brilliant. That's going to work. That's going to work really well. So he's there to do that. So it won't be too much of an issue. But if you couldn't unbind it, you'd be in trouble.
The Seraphon movement phase is about to start.
Okay. Movement phase. Let's look at the board. What do we think he's going to do? He's got to commit onto those. Look how many blue horrors we've had pop out now from all of the output from Croak, right?
Yep.
So
so Croak's pretty much doing all the work.
I mean, how many wounds have we still got here, though? But still, I mean, we're saying there's potentially 50 wounds in each of these 10-man horror units. There's still a lot to go through, right?
There is unless he's lost no blues yet, so there are 30 wounds still there. No, 40 wounds still there.
And with another squad of 10 behind it.
Yep.
And the Demonettes. And then even if you go for it, maybe the Kadai go for you.
Demonettes are kind of paper, in my opinion. So I guess they're getting the 5-up save if they're by heroes in this, but they're only a 6-up, I think, are they normally, or a 5?
The Demonettes are basically just they're not there. Effectively,
they've got good mobility, is what Demonettes bring to his army. I guess that's the only thing they bring. So they can
I think they just
move
the
6,
cheapness,
run, and charge. Yeah, for 100 points. I think for 100 points, they're the best other Chaos Demon unit you can take. So those chaps are all running.
Yeah, and you need the battle line unit at the end of the day. There's only 4 battle line options to choose from: Plague Bearers, which are more than 100 points; Bloodletters, Pink Horrors, or the Demonettes. The Demonettes are your cheapest choice, really. And so you might as well have them over the other options, because really you're spending so many points on the characters, and that big brick of Kadai is 25% of your army. So there's a lot of commitment there. But now just watching all those Pink Horrors be on the board, I'm just like, you just don't have the output. Like, the one thing that's important is the command points. So that's really key here. So command points are going to be used to make something immune to battle shock. Cost 1 command point. And the general is able to do it to units within 12. So the corruptor is going to be able to do it to the blue horrors or the pink horrors. The best way of getting rid of horrors at the minute is to battle shock them off the board. Yeah, that's because they are 50 wounds, effectively, as a pool, no matter what, even if you get them down to brimstone horrors. But they've got bravery 10, so once you've done more than 10 wounds into the unit, or you remove 10 models, you're starting to additionally battle shock units off, which is good.
It counts as double for every wound you do, plus D6, right?
Exactly. So that's your best way of dealing with it. But as you can see, Antu's been really smart. He's sat on his command points. It's also a good build as well, because what he's doing is he's not relying on a command ability to do something. He's instead just using them for immune to battle shock on here. So he has something that he has planned with his command points, and it's not some fancy War Scroll ability command thing which could get lost if that unit is also killed. It's just the most basic command point, really simple, super easy. It also works really well on the Kadai, who've got fairly low bravery. So that's what I used to do. I used to have a flying dwarf that used to chase around my Kadai, making them immune to battle shock.
And that's not just the England rugby team. I've got a quick question about Mortal Wounds then. This could be a bleed over from my understanding of 40k and how Mortal Wounds work there. Mortal Wounds in 40k don't care if you are a Toughness 2 6-up save model or if you're a Toughness 8 2+ save model. It still does the same amount of Mortal Wounds. So although the demon nets are very squishy, surely the main impact that they're going to have is the number of wounds they're able to place in front of the enemy army, because it doesn't matter if you pay for that extra durability in your unit or not. It matters how many wounds you have. So how easy is it, I guess, for the Seraphon to remove all these models when the majority of their damage output comes from Mortal Wounds? Or have I got my rules mixed up because it's different between this and 40k?
No, the output from this army is fairly elite in the Mortal Wounds that you're talking about coming from Croak. But the Salamanders, if given time, are gonna keep doing damage. They are gonna keep hitting, and they're gonna keep doing work. What he wants to do is bring all of the Salamanders to bear very, very quickly on this flank, and just put all of that pressure and keep hitting. Now, still, even then, he's not going to be able to grind it out, which is why, again, Star Strike is such a fascinating...
it's a bit of a mind game, isn't it, really?
It is, because that turn one, so in the chat, we're seeing some people talking about putting pressure on even earlier, right? Croak isn't going to kill a whole army. But the Salamanders, if you give them several turns, because they're going to keep shooting, especially if you can screen and keep them safe. But by limiting how much output the Salamanders can do, because they only have got a few turns when you can bring their actual output to bear, and you keep increasing how many wounds you have in your army, or you haven't been attritioned out, it's kind of like a snowball effect, if you mean. Does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, Salamanders,
no, I get you.
Like, shooting units are best if they're alive for 5 turns.
Because you get maximum efficiency out of them. I mean, we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, about how if you can keep a unit sat behind a ruin shooting for 6 turns in 40k, you're getting a lot of efficiency out of it compared to a unit that just dies immediately. So, but also, as we can see, these Salamanders that are on the far left-hand side, from this perspective you're looking at, they've still got a way to get into the game. I don't know if there are any more ways that they can move into this right-hand side and do a lot of damage and try and start clearing these things out. They can all teleport individually, it's not just one per segment.
But, and again, a lot of it, and it's a fair point to everyone, comes down to luck. This comet that landed right here at the centre could be over on the far left-hand side. Similarly, this comet that's on the right-hand at the top could have been on the far left-hand side as well, which would have been advantageous for the Seraphon. But then those Kadai can womp across pretty quickly. And ultimately, when those Kadai finally commit, it's going to take a couple of turns to get rid of them. And they currently... haven't committed yet, so just leaving them off. It's a bit like the Stonehorn build. When you see Stonehorns play, some people just throw all their Stonehorns in straight away. Big love to Lee Bromley. And sometimes that catches people out. Sometimes you're like a bee's dick away from securing a victory, by just being so hardcore in your opponent's face. But another way of running the Stonehorns is just to keep them threatening.
But it's the wrong way.
Some people think it's the wrong way.
Giant mammoth. Just gotta run at you.
I mean, I guess missions like this also play into the advantage of having lots of summoning points as well. For example, if I see that the objectives are going on the other side, well, I can easily flex there by just summoning on that side instead, right? Rather than having to walk all the way across the board. What do you think?
Yeah, like the mobility from the summoning is also a big advantage in some of these situations as well. But I think ultimately this has been a great scenario and fairly unique scenario to show the weakness that Croak and the Seraphon build has to a degree, in that it has to play around itself to some element. And by having such a great pivot in Croak on the Balewind, but having such an important pivot means he's had to be far more defensive than we would have expected him to be. Even though he's super cheap, he's 320 points. Yeah, but on a Balewind, he's 380 points. With a unit of Saurus Guard next to him, he's 480 points. With a Saurus Astroloth banner nearby, which I think are 140, he's now nearly 600 points.
It's about what you invested to what he can do, right?
Yeah.
It's not just his own individual points cast.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. And it's what he can do in the game. And again, Croak needs to be alive for the whole game. Whereas the Kadai, once they commit, 48 wounds on the Kadai, man. 48 wounds for the same points as Croak.
With 5+ DPR and Ethereal Save.
Yeah.
Even though they've done nothing.
No, they haven't.
Well, I mean, they've done nothing individually, but again, you can't just run at them, and they give you the option to maybe try and force that double turn and swing if you need it, I guess.
What I feel like we've forgotten again is there's a Warp Lightning Vortex.
We have the Warp Lightning Vortex is on the Vermalord Corruptor, but he hasn't brought that to bear, and I don't think we're close enough yet. So it's someone within 16 potentially can drop it where those salamanders are. That's definitely a thing. It's a terrible, terrible spell, Tom. There's also Demon Rift, which he isn't going to be able to cast anymore because that was on the that was on the Gaunt Summoner. So he was the only, so it was keyworded and keylocked to him. But I think what's really been really good about this game, and I can see the chat having this conversation, is the nuance of the game, especially
and the mission.
The mission. And how some people feel that like committing early is good, not committing. Sometimes the double, sometimes you have to go for it, sometimes you don't. I feel like Age of Sigmar, it feels a lot more. Sometimes it's a lot more feeling than science. Like you can break it down, you can be quite scientific.
Or knowing when you have to, I get
but there's sometimes there's like a tempo to the game, and again that's obviously wanky. There is like
and putting your opponent on the back foot and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but there is some element to like feeling out the game in some ways, and you can make smart decisions, but sometimes you have to make bold decisions, and that's why it's such an exciting game because it's got that risk-reward element, which some games lack. Like it doesn't matter what sort, like risk versus reward. I think makes something thrilling. But Wilhelm Sturmer, thanks for joining. Subscribing. Thanks to anyone who subscribed. Thanks for anyone who subscribed today.
And Gwendar as well. Straight in, give me your Twitch primes. They feed me jam sandwiches and Rob jam sandwiches. More importantly.
Yeah.
There we go. Rob can eat tonight. Yeah, boy.
You guys are great.
That's gonna be good.
hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for giving up your day watching. James, thanks for helping commentary. Also, Adam, thanks for organising the event and to all the players.
Right.
So, I've just got a quick question coming back onto this because I know we've talked a lot about the objective placement really screwed Aaron here. Is there anything you think Aaron could have done differently with the information that he had at the time that would have maybe given him a better position in this game right now?
I'd have pushed out. Yeah, not castled. I'd have pushed out with the green and blue skinks that you see, and I'd have let the Kadai hit me, if that makes sense. So like when they were previously here in a line as they were a double line, he was protecting Croak, but he could easily have just pushed that out further and just given himself a double line. He still had the Saurus Guard as like a last line of defense to make sure Croak didn't get got.
All the salamanders are all of this bunch of salamanders highlighted by the pink hand are currently shooting the first batch of blue horrors.
Yeah. So I would have done that, and I'd have created more board presence at that point, Tom, to bring myself forward. The Kadai then, if they'd have wanted to, could have committed into the centre, and because what you really want to do is bait the Kadai in so that the salamanders can start hitting them. That would have been the key. No, Antu could have just simply not taken that bait.
Yeah, I mean, but you may give him the option to make a mistake, right? You're trying to force him to make an error.
But where the green and blue screen are now, he could have had that there the turn before, and he could have had his salamanders in range earlier as well. Is all likelihood, but it's a super interesting battle plan. I'd have moved something out. I wouldn't have sat quite so stationary.
Yeah, and this is a trickier question because obviously Antu's in a favourable position right now, but there's always something you can learn from games. Is my general opinion on this. Do you think there's anything that Antu could have done differently to make this an even more favourable position than he's in now?
I mean,
If not, that's obviously fine. But
I mean, based on where the things landed, because the Kadai is so mobile, they could be here if it landed there. If it landed all the way over there, he could still be over there with 48 wounds, and he could still be pushing pressure onto this center objective. And what you really need in Star Strike is you have to win the center objective, because you more than likely are going to win the one that's in your deployment, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what you really want is something that go and take this center objective, and now with that bonus unit of pink horrors. To be fair though to Antu, again, and unfair to Aaron, which is like again another unit of pink horrors on the board is horrific for holding objectives. Just terrible.
I mean, he
time.
did fail the summon as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
On that turn too.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, thank you so much for also pointing that out. There's also summoning from the Legion of Chaos Ascendant as well. They've got a summoning spell. Has to be wholly within 12 inches, but those Kadai can teleport outside of 9, as can some of the other units as well. So, honestly, it's a cool list, but both lists are really fun. I'm enjoying this game. I honestly am. But how it plays out now, so as you can see, those Salamanders doing terrific work. I don't know how much damage they did, James.
12, I think.
So 12 damage.
15. They did.
Wow, that's good damage.
They're incredible. They're incredible. 240 points of pure output, and then the other Salamander unit should take them out as well. And we are in turn 3, and the Seraphon have gone first. So we are still waiting for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant to take their third turn and see what they do. It's at this point I think you're going to see those Kadai commit, because there's a real nice gap there for the Kadai to drop behind the yellow skinks, hit the Salamanders, eat the Salamanders up.
Lovely. I like the sound of that. Also, I guess that right now the risk is lower compared to if you try to go for that push in turns 1 or 2, like I wanted to see. Very sad. Whereas now if he pushes it, it's like, well, you've got so much to deal with now. If you deal with a Kadai, then I'll just get this objective for another turn, take an even bigger lead.
See that you're exactly right. It's an objective game, and once you start to understand that, when you watch these games and you understand that it's an objective game, the entire way that you play becomes less about your opponent's army and more about the board, and it's a fascinatingly deep game. I don't want to bang on too much about it, but it becomes really exciting. Yeah. It becomes really exciting to watch, and also when you're seeing people, because when you watch a big frog versus some fire demons, you think, can't wait for those fire demons to cook that big frog. But but when you actually play the game, what you're actually asking yourself is, are those fire demons going to eat up these skinks, which could score objectives? You're playing around these little circles more than you do anything else.
Yeah. Rather than 40k, where the objective is kill your opponent hard.
I think so. I think, but then we've talked about this a little bit before. Smash lists, as you've talked about.
I'm oversimplifying it, but I understand the point that you're making as well. Whereas it's very much more about, it's far more important for me to be able to kick my opponent off their objective.
Yeah, or just hold the objective, or give them, or overload them with threats, because that's what we're about to see. We're about to see an overload of threats. The Kadai, look at those Brimstone
Multiple
horrors.
threat overload.
Oh my god, Brimstone horrors are the funniest model in the game. Imagine losing to tiny bits of. Imagine losing to tiny bits of fire. You go home, honey, what did you do? Oh, babe, I nearly won the tournament. What happens? 3 tiny little bits of fire stayed on an objective and beat me. And it's at that point that she laughs at you. Every time. Every time.
I'd like to say you couldn't be 3 because they come in 2s.
That's true. But look how cute they are.
They look like shit.
They look amazing.
Wow.
What the hell? These look so great. Are you telling me these aren't brilliant?
Now the original GW Salamander model's better.
Oh my god, disgusting. Oh wait, the original ones, yes. The current ones, no.
Someone's gone in and done the teeth and eyes on these as well. That's top effort, mate.
Yeah.
Brimstone horrors. They just give me nightmares.
Why? Why don't you like them?
Because of the pink horrors turning into blue horrors, turning into Brimstone horrors.
We are now in the Chaos Ascendant magic phase.
Oh baby, it's on. So that's the set board. That's what it looks like.
He tried to put down spell portal and got stopped by a 12. So he stopped the cast on a 12.
Wow. I'm right in thinking that command point was spent on keeping the Brimstone horrors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One was spent, sorry. which means he kept the objective, I think. Yeah.
So the current scores at the moment are 2 victory points to the Legion of Chaos Ascendant and 5 victory points. I'm not sure they've been keeping track of that, right? Is that right? Yeah, it will be, because you scored 2 on turn 2. Because you score the round number for victory points, so it's currently turn 3. So he'll score 3 for each one of those. Is that right on Star Strike? Or is it number of turns you've held it? Yeah. Okay.
Does that kind of give you? Sorry. Does that kind of give you a route back in late game if you are able to clear all these demons off? Then you can just hold it for a couple of turns, and suddenly you've made up a difference from the earlier turns.
Yeah. It's a game of momentum. It's turn 1 do nothing, turn 5 panic. It's
sounds about right.
It's really exciting. It's a cool one. So yeah, James, let us know what's happening in the hero phase, if you don't mind.
The Demonettes. So he forgot to battle shock the Demonettes. He's just rolled the battle shock, and they got a load back.
Oh, really? So he rolled a 1 on the Demonettes.
Yeah, they're back to 10.
Oh, that's really upsetting. Really upsetting. And he used the command point to keep the Brimstone Horrors alive, right?
Yeah. So he had 2. He's now down to 1.
GG outplayed by the Demonettes, I guess. Mad skills.
Yeah, I mean, just rolling 1s is the
Powerful.
future.
Yeah, I know. Gives you a benefit to it. If all you do is roll 1s, then at least, you got some benefit out of it.
That's all you need. So he can still do 3 mortal wounds, I think, coming out of Kairos. You've also got the teleport spell. You've also got the death spell, I think, which is the one he should use, which is... I
want that giant spawn on the table.
The Echo of
Bill
Hatred.
As well.
He's called Bill?
Yeah, look, if you put your mouse over the spawn, he's called Bill the
Bill
Spawn.
the Spawn. Well, I reckon that these Fireborn should get the Echo of Hatred cast on them. And then they just go ham. So if they just charge in, if they get killed, they're going to be able to strike back. It's the right decision, I think.
Yeah, lots has been cast, but the Breaky's basically just kind of stopping any cast. So what we've kind of got going on at this point, what we've kind of got going on at the minute is the basic. Hang on, bear with me.
There you go.
Sorry, someone entered the chat of the players and basically was just streaming.
Right, fair. So
just dealing with that. So what we're kind of watching now is the back end of a magic phase that hasn't been successful.
What's he failed this time?
Everything. So the
wow,
problem,
okay.
One of the problems you have, which is a Seraphon specific thing, is basically that they can dispel board wide. So most people have to be within 30 to dispel. The Slans and Croak, who's the Owens, basically board wide. And the Slan can actually re-roll a dispel.
I take it at this point, if the Chaos, are the Chaos going first this turn, or are they going second?
So this is the second part of turn 3. So
okay.
The Chaos taking it.
I reckon then, is it your opinion that if Chaos don't get the double turn here, the game is basically over? Because you need to be able to hit back and try and clear some of the stuff with the Seraphon, otherwise you're just going to have an issue. Whereas if the Chaos go again, they're going to remove a bunch more stuff. I mean, it's just pretty much impossible to take this middle objective.
Yeah, I think the problem's going to be that the Seraphon has got 9 summoning points. He only needs 6. It's not the end of the world. But he can only bring 10 skinks on, which isn't going to do a lot at this point.
No.
And those Kadai...
They're going for it.
Well, they've just had a command on them to guarantee them a 6-inch run, so they can run and charge.
Go on, my son. So
I
like that.
They are basically going for it.
We're going to go and blast some skinks. I mean, it could just be that even if the Seraphon get to go again after this, it could just be game over anyway. I guess it depends on how many of these skinks the Chaos Ascendant army is going to be able to remove here. You still got all these Salamanders, but if the Chaos get to go again, remove all of the screen, and then hit the Salamanders afterwards, I think it's pretty much game.
Yeah, what you realistically want to see is those Kadai roll a really good charge, because he can basically litter them throughout the entire line. So where this little pink hand is, if you can basically wrap all of this, because they've got a 3-inch range, they're basically going to be able to hit everything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
they're just going to murder the army at this point.
They're just going to keep murdering. So then the next turn, what I would say is he's probably, even if the Seraphon player gets the next turn, what you're going to then find is he's probably going to have to retreat those skinks to be able to actually do anything.
Tell you what else is going to have to retreat is retreating these cheeky Fireborn. The issues of playing on Tabletop Simulator. You need to be able to get the ranges right. Right. Looks like he's had some issues there.
There's a complication with it. So we've seen a couple of times throughout the day, like some minor issues.
Yeah.
But everyone's been pretty cool. People do take backs. Everyone's let people kind of wiggle about.
Yeah, I mean, it's a chill event at the end of the day while we're waiting for everything.
Well, but it is a 30-person event.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Like people who are watching live, which I think is honestly is probably I don't think it's the biggest tabletop simulator event ever. Like, but I think it might be the largest 80 Sigmar tabletop simulator event, which is sweet.
I had 36 yesterday, but I had 6 dropouts. So...
How have you found managing it? Like, Adam, are you tempted to go for a bigger number next time, or do a 2-day event?
I wouldn't do any bigger for a 1-dayer because it's pointless because of how Swiss works. Mm-hmm. But I am debating going for a 2-dayer at some point. And yeah, it just depends how the management of it is relatively easy. I mean, I'm pissed at the moment, so you know it is pretty easy. I've just run out of cider and I've started with 12 cans today, so you know. But yeah, it's a good laugh. I was saying to one of the guys earlier that's in the tournament from Australia, they need to get an Aussie event going because he's flagging now. It's 4:00 in the morning over there. So an Australian should make a tournament, and I'll play in that one, so I know their pain.
Yes, I think I got some people who I know who I could help set up an Aussie tournament, and we could do the coverage. I think that would be fun.
I'll play in that as well. Like I was up at 4 a.m. playing a guy from Alaska the other week, so you know.
Yeah, I was playing Total War till 6:00 in the morning. So
good lad,
yeah.
Good lad.
The Corona time means none of us are on time anymore. So did you talk about the fact the Fireborn have moved forward? This is exciting. The thing is in order to deal with the Fireborn, he's got to commit the Salamanders to them, which means they're not killing the Brimstone Horrors or the Pinks who are on the objectives. So this commitment, even if it goes wrong for... even if Seraphon get the turn, means there's too many threats that are going to be able to overload. To be fair, though, Croak could probably do some mortal wounds into the Brimstones anyway, but it's not going to stop those pink horrors from helping score the objective, or even those demonettes. But he's taking Kairos out of the game a little bit. That's interesting. What do you think of that? Interesting. Moved him out of the way. These two players are from the UK and they are from Finland. So Aaron at the top is from the UK and Antu is from Finland, where, by the way, the national bird is a swan.
Learned that earlier, didn't we?
Versus the national bird of England, which is the robin.
Hero.
The robin.
Love a robin.
Pigeons are the best.
Pigeons. I think I want pigeons to be our national bird. I'm with you, 100%.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's going on with Bill?
Has he shrunk?
Bill the Spawn has a questionable thing over his crotch and bum.
Has he?
Yeah, just go have a look.
Oh, that's censored
TOS
for TV.
lads, TOS.
Yeah, censored for TV. That's what that is. Also, you're right. We've just talked about why we might have seen Kairos drop back. It's because we might. We're going to find out when the roll is going to come for the new 10 pink horrors. Because
he's also dropped back to stop. He's trying to stop those salamanders popping up behind and taking out Kairos.
Ah, interesting.
So they discussed it. So he's basically measured the 9s and 9s. So those demonettes you might have missed, he auto ran a 6, then realised he didn't have a hero there. So they have just done their run roll. But it's all about basically blocking up Kairos and holding back this back end of the board now.
Right, to keep summoning, because he has the Verminlord Corruptor has to be part of. So the Verminlord Corruptor has got an aura. Everything within 8 inches is gonna improve their DPR save from a 6+ to a 5+. So that he has to kind of be a frontline character, whereas Kairos doesn't, and he wants to keep these two characters alive as long as possible, because every turn he gets to roll 3 dice, and if he rolls a 10 or more, he's going to put down 10 more pink horrors. Honestly, if 10 more pink horrors go down, Aaron just does not have the output, let's be honest, to go through an additional 50 wounds. He's already, this turn, he's put 400 points of pink horrors down this game. If he does it, he's about to roll to see if he puts another 200 points down.
Here's the 10.
Oh!
The dice oh.
Oh, did he? Oh, did he? Bless me.
Bless me.
Oh, wait, has he rolled it?
Bill. I think
Wait,
he's
here we
rolled
go.
it.
Here's the
Here we
roll.
go.
Here's the roll. Oh, it's a 10! It's a 10! Oh my god!
What a douche.
What a scumbag! This is another 10 pink horrors. Another Aaron's got a
Bill
sad
says
face.
yes. There he goes.
There we go.
Oh,
Who is Bill out of interest?
So Bill is one of the American ETC players. He's
Bill Sousa. Okay,
yeah, like you've
Got back to the early 2000s in here, so he summoned the 10 and said, "Sorry, not sorry." It's like 2010.
yeah. There's like some gaming savants in Warhammer, Tom, and Bill's one of them very much so. I think of people like Smorgan, who's on the who we have on the show, Darren, we've had on the show as well. Like there's a whole bunch of gamers all around the world who just come up with some super clever lists, or they really like break lists apart to come up with some really funky stuff.
Darren is not my friend.
Who's not your friend?
Darren.
Oh no! Why? What
He
did you
was
do?
my-
Nobody's
my,
Darren's friend. It's fine.
He was my very first Age of Sigmar game at a tournament event.
Oh dear.
And
How was
I'm
that?
so sorry.
it was not a good time. I may have tried.
But there are other notable people as well, many of them. I don't want you to think that I'm leaving you out. But Bill rose to prominence last year, well, at least in my eyes or in my esteem, when he was running Flesh Eater Courts before the new book came out, but winning tournaments with them under the old book. One of the only people in the world to do so. He recently won a tournament as well with Marauders as mercenaries, which is a great little addition to units as well. I don't like horrors. So if you guys have just joined us, you've seen Legion of the Chaos Ascendant at the Chaos Ascendant at the bottom versus Seraphon at the top. We're playing Star Strike. We're in battle round 3, and we're in Legion of Chaos Ascendant's third turn. The Seraphon already having had their third turn. The score at the minute is 5 points to Seraphon, and it is 2 points to the Legion of Chaos Ascendant, but they are going to score at the end of this turn. We have seen the Legion of Chaos Ascendant summon 30 pink horrors this game alone, which is 150 wounds worth of summoning. We've also seen the Seraphon summon one salamander, which is 4 wounds.
The brand new summoned pink horrors just shot the yellow skinks and took 7 of them out.
Yeah, also 10 pink horrors aren't just 40 wounds, they're also 30 shots, hitting on 4s, wounding on, hitting on 5s, wounding on 5s actually. But it's still brilliant.
It doesn't matter, 30 shots for nothing. Okay, so the brimstones are now shooting the yellows as well.
Pardon me?
So the pink shot the yellow skinks, took 7 off, and now the brimstones are now shooting them as well.
Okay, so just clearing them off the objective.
12 shots.
I think he's going to try and get those Kadai. The Kadai really want to get around here, right? They want to activate in here, get in the fight.
Yeah. It's time for them to just swarm, I think. And there's enough kind of gaps that they can just, like, myriad themselves around that whole thing.
Absolutely. They at least want to take out some of the salamanders. If the salamander... at this point, there's 100 wounds on these two objectives.
I think go straight for the Balewind.
No, hit the salamanders. You don't need to worry about the Balewind. He can't take an army out on his own. Old Crocosaurus. To be honest, just keeping characters alive.
Just charge 11.
What? What?
So
Sorry,
the
say that again?
Demonites have just charged 11. all
Oh,
the way into
wow.
the Salamanders.
Okay.
So he thought it was the Kadai, got upset, but it is actually the Demonites that have got an 11.
Incredible. Incredible.
Which is pretty, I mean, it's amazing. Look at that. The distance they've just got.
Yeah, they've got some legs on them, haven't they? Look at these
Yeah.
babes. These babes of the wood.
I mean, 10 of them, I think. So there should
They're
be.
going to lose that fight, though.
Salamanders. Yeah, but they've locked up both sets of salamanders. So even if he can keep, he's got nothing to pass the battle shot.
So Aaron Blair on Facebook, this isn't the Legion of Asgore, this is the Legion of Chaos Ascendant list, which is made up of keyword demon and chaos. So that's why you're seeing a mixture. You've got Kairos, a Vermin Lord Corruptor, Pink Horrors, Demonettes, and Kadai Fireborn.
I think, like, for me, like, looking at this, because it's not a book I spent a lot of time looking at, like, if you've played Chaos and you've played more than one Chaos army, there's some great synergies in this book.
It's what's quite nice about it is access inside the book to a teleport. Some of the Chaos Demon units inside their own books don't have a teleport. Thinking of Khorne, for instance. So you could put some Juggernauts, some Blood Crushers of Khorne inside a Legion of Chaos Ascendant army. You could give them teleport. You could also give them, if they die, they get to strike back. So the Echo of Hatred spell. Now, they're better on the charge and they're terrible in a fight, but it's a cool little thing that you can do. You can basically
Kadai charge?
Oh, big charge on the Kadai. What did they roll?
8. Oh no, Brimstones. Sorry, my bad.
No one's ever used to Brimstones charging, so therefore we wouldn't even expect
Oh, what are they doing?
Go! The Brimstones are actually the best horrors in a fight.
Are they? Oh, are they? What's
They
because
get
they're
to
made
be
of...
I'm trying to think of an analogy that isn't offensive here for
they-
what's the best something at something, but
Are
So
they,
they're still 5s and 5s, but each base gets 2.
are they hot stuff?
Okay.
Did you not
So
hear that?
He's gonna roll the Kadai charge, and he said he doesn't need the face.
Say that again. Sorry, James, you broke up.
He's rolled an 8.
Oh, he rolled an 8.
Kadai charging. Boom.
Well, the Kadai are hot stuff.
They are literally hot stuff, I believe. Oh, Rob, that was awful. Oh, dear. I thought that soundboard was going to be used for useful things like Nathan voice lines, but no, it's just you using clips you found on YouTube. Thanks.
I can use them for anything, actually. I can use them for all of the things. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Oh, my God. Who will win? 2 skinks or some fiery boys? Look at these little cuties. They're so beautiful.
Okay, so he's made the 2 that he rolled a 6 with Kairos's dice changey ability.
Wow,
There you go.
okay. So that's huge. So Kairos once per game can change the dice roll of some specific things, and he's changed what he's just rolled there from he rolled a 6 and a 2, so he turned the other 2 into a 6, got a 12-inch charge on those Kadai.
This is going to be the longest combat in the world.
Maybe, but so they've got 3-inch range on their weapons. That's the really important part. So the thing he should do here is just forget about trying to get into Croak and just delete everything around him. Kill the skinks, kill the salamanders, kill the Saurus Guard. Just reduce how many units are available here.
I can't imagine there's going to be a lot left. I reckon one Kadai could probably take most of 10 skinks.
Do you remember like 2 hours ago when I called that there was going to be this little flying cohesion here between over the screen?
I do remember this, yes.
See, that's the thing about screening. I'll just draw it for you guys on the screen for you guys to
We
watch.
found a different word for screen because
Yeah, I know. On the display for you guys. The thing about screen is, if you screen like this, so line and then line, yeah, you give the opportunity for someone to drop in between here or even over and then create some like that. Whereas the other version is if you create a screen, but then you create a deeper screen, you get a 3-inch line here. So it's true that they start here and they might be able to jump over and then maybe pile towards that screen. But what they definitely can't do is, because this is beyond 12 inches here, is they can't get behind that. So sometimes it makes sense to double wrap, which is what you're
Loose
seeing
and
here.
tight screening, isn't it?
Yeah, but what in Age of Sigmar, especially because you have the 3-inch range on screening lines, what you actually want to do is create board space with your screen so that the charges, when they happen, don't make it further across the board, right? And it's sometimes it can be difficult to understand which one you want to do and against which units you want to do it in. Specifically, Ghoul Kings on Terrorgeist are the ones where you tend to generally want to double wrap, because they'll hit one line, then they'll hit the next line after they pile in. But in this case, the Kadai, they wanted to be screened further back. You wanted to make them go away. But that would have been hard. The horrors go and just cleared that screen out, but you would have stopped them still at the movement phase. Another example for you guys on the screen. Here and here is your 2 screens. Your Kadai end up in front of them, ready to attack, and then you shoot and you destroy the front screen in front. The Kadai are still miles away from the second screen, so they could fail the charge, or so you don't lose much because you would have lost that unit that they killed in shooting in the combat phase anyway. So anyway, some people don't care about screening. It's like whatever, but it's actually really fun if you understand it. Fun's probably the wrong word. It's something. I
believe the word you're looking for is interesting, my friend.
Yeah. Would it be more interesting if I explained it like this? Screening is. All right. So what's happened, James? Where are we?
We're just calculating what's attacking what. Okay, so there's weirdly.
1 second, guys.
So
if he has Echo of Hatred cast on the Kadai.
Not aware.
Okay. That would be cool, because if they die, he might be looking for the salamanders to actually... He might be looking to do the maximum damage. Then when the salamanders hit the Kadai... Yeah, when the salamanders hit the Kadai and then they get to fight back because they've been killed, he gets extra attacks out of the unit.
He did nothing.
He did get the spell off.
To the salamanders.
Oh, wait, he did no damage to the salamanders?
No, nothing.
Okay, so the Kadai have just attacked the salamanders and they've done no damage so far. Which is what they do. That's what they do. Sometimes they do great, sometimes they do terrible.
I think at -1 to hit, the 4s are making a big difference at the minute.
Yeah, 4s to hit, 4s to wound. No rend, but D3 damage. D3 damage. They've also got a stomp ability, so everything within an inch at the end of the combat phase is going to take a mortal wound. So these skinks, these salamanders, these skinks, which is quite nice. It's a nice little bonus, and sometimes another reason to take a big long 12 if you can snake in amongst all these units here. So we're seeing the blue skinks attack. We've just lost 4.
So he killed 4 skinks from the blue bunch.
Okay. And then...
I feel like you've oversold these all day, Rob.
Oh, no, I haven't. I've told you that they fluff up all the time. They fluff up all the time. I told you in the last game, the thing that the Kadai are meant to do is hold stuff up.
Okay, so it kills 9
damage.
of the green ones, so there's 1 green one left.
They're so swingy because they wound on 4s. Hit on 3s, wound on 4s.
These
Super
Kadai
swingy.
are not doing very well.
No, they're not.
They did. So what did they do? 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage.
They're only skinks, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
they 2 skinks, yeah. But if they've got...
So he seems to have forgot whatever you were on about, Rob.
What? Oh, no, it happens at the end of the combat phase. The stomp.
And hasn't done any kind of wounds after he's done attacking.
So, yeah, the skinks are going to attack
Would you like
back
a little
now.
update from the squig table?
Oh, please do. What,
Always.
from Mr. Budtastic Guy?
Always, I would like that.
So apparently, the squigs have actually managed to do something,
Ah, nice.
but they're still probably going to lose.
Oh,
But they've
really?
done something.
Okay,
What did
so
they
what have they
do?
done?
They charged quite far and then moved quite far. Charged. I said that twice because apparently I'm that pissed. But they've got in, charged some shit, killed some shit, and then just completely died. So it's not going too well for the squigs.
Okay.
Stable 1's quite cool. You've got the Seraphon versus the Deepkin.
Yep. How's that going for us?
So the Seraphon they've had to spread out quite a lot because the objectives have landed in really weird places. So they haven't been able to just do their sort of castle like sort of Aaron tried to do. so the Deepkin are sort of getting into places where the Seraphon player doesn't really want them. But and last time I checked, the Salamanders were just about to start shooting some eels. And so hopefully for the Seraphon player, if you can kill enough in the turn that they were on, he should be in quite a strong position, because the Deepkin are sort of everywhere. So
Okay.
it really depends on how that turn sort of goes. So it's a bit weird. The other Seraphon player.
We've got a
on-
question in the chat to ask how the Saurus Knights are doing.
Oh,
Please
that's
don't
two I
tell
was
me.
literally just about to get to.
Please
So,
don't tell me.
Excellent.
So table 3 is the Seraphon player with all the Saurus Knights, and he's playing against Oryx. And basically turn 1, he went, fuck it, I'm going charging everything, and he's basically charged all the knights and the Carnosaur that flies across the table and killed quite a lot. And now it's basically just sort of holding on to see if, by killing enough in turn 1, whether he can survive the rest of the game.
Yeah, just trying to kind of cling to life.
Yeah, so he's not played the long game. He's gone, fuck it, I'm going to go in turn 1, and try to sort of kill enough so that the Uruks cannot take the objectives late game. Whether that
Right.
works or not is another story, really.
Yeah.
I want to know if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Nailed it.
Welcome
No
back.
problem. Much easier. Done as
That's
if I
the
in the chat.
quietest
What
I've
up?
ever heard you.
Yeah, I was actually talking the whole time. It's just you couldn't hear me.
There's like a breath of fresh air in my ear.
I'm so
I did
sorry
a
about
drunken table update that I forgot most of the things that I was going to say, but it's fine.
that. How are the
So-
mammoths doing? That's the real question.
So the mammoths actually dropped out.
Oh,
Yeah, so
PC broke, didn't it?
what a giant disappointment.
yeah, so
Ah, boo.
the mammoths dropped out 2-3 after losing to the Sylvaneth. The mammoths actually lost their game 2. Both Sylvaneth players won their game 2.
Whoa.
No way.
That
No.
must be
Yeah.
broken. Someone should sort that out.
Sylvaneth are just OP. That's what it is.
So Sylvaneth is basically too strong at this stage. That's
Straight
the
up too
conversation.
strong.
Straight up too
It's
strong.
enough.
Also,
Needs an
swords
earth.
better than Cybers apparently because they both won.
God, you're all idiots. Looking at combat here, as you can see, we're still rolling it out, but we've lost 2 Kadai to the Salamanders.
Yeah. We've
Which
lost-
is
4 demonettes to the other set.
yes,
Wait,
but they're
yeah.
gonna. And we lost some more skink handlers, so we're gonna start going into those as well.
The
But those.
demonettes are just fighting back.
Yeah, but those Kadai have basically what the Demonettes want to do is just live, and what the Kadai just want to do is live, because in the next shooting phase, both the Salamanders units are going to have to shoot into the Kadai or the Demonettes, and not onto the 100 wounds of pink horrors on these objectives.
Oh, the skinks are piling in.
Oh, watch out! We're in trouble.
Here we go. This is where the game changes hands now when the skinks fight.
Is it weird and creepy that I want to watch all of the turns to see if he summons 10 more pink horrors?
No, we should just make him do it even if he finishes.
It's really 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 scary.
Okay, that's the end of the turn. I think.
So Gwenda, when we're talking about the nerf for the Sylvaneth, we obviously are just joking because they're terrible.
Okay, so he's just doing the die mortal wounds.
Yes. So at the end of the combat phase, the Kadai get to roll a dice on 2+. Each unit within an inch takes a mortal wound. So you might see this little green fella die. This, by the way, has cost me a game. I needed to kill 1 character on an objective to win a game once, and I rolled a 1.
What do you mean? Did I have a command point reroll, Rob?
I just had to
no.
brazen.
Oof.
Oh, sorry, Gwenda. Apologise. I got that confused. Pink horrors are fine. Pink horror. Listen, Dave. As someone who's just about to paint his blue horrors up, pink horrors are so fine. Yeah?
So with these pink horrors, you have to pay for the unit, and then you have to pay for the summoning points, right?
No.
No,
What?
it's just
How
Summoning
many
two
points is
now.
that unit?
summoning,
horrors are
summoning
not fine.
points. Pink horrors are not fine. No, it's
They're
a
not
200 point unit, Tom. That really is actually 50 wounds.
Bruh. That's
So I think-
4 points a wound. Are you kidding me?
I think for me, the thing is with horrors is they're actually quite weak. Like they don't do a huge
Well, it
amount.
depends how you define
Oh
weak,
no,
though.
bollocks! 10 pink horrors has got some decent shooting output.
Yeah, they're all right. They're not amazing. Like so, when you get them free for summoning, great. When you think they're 200 points for 10, they're not as good.
Oh yeah, but if you're only including the 10, but if you're
But I
including the
think the
other
biggest
40
issue
other
here
models,
is summoning 10 or so.
Sorry, it just broke up there at the end, James. Sorry, what did you say?
I said like they're strong, but I don't know. They're one of those weird units that I think is really strong in Zinch, and that's kind of how people see them. Whereas so in other armies they're strong, not as disgusting.
surely it depends on what you're wanting to do with them, though, because if you're taking them as like a shooting unit, well, for like 200 points, it's like, well, maybe they're not that good, but if you're just taking a 200-point brick to set on an objective that's not getting shifted for ages
Yeah,
because it's got 50 wounds, then it's very strong.
The 50 wounds seem strong, but they can battle shock really easily. But the biggest thing for me is just that it's like, oh, there's so many things in the game currently that makes.
But it's not even paying for the thing, or is it strong? It's the fact that most of the time you get them for free.
Oh,
I think
hold
we've
on.
got priority roll.
We're into the priority roll here.
Plops itself on the table.
We've got the priority roll. Yeah, we've got the priority roll. Yeah,
Well,
James, you're also being encouraged to bail on that conversation, which I also agree with.
Encourage what?
To bail on that
Don't worry.
conversation.
Priority roll. I don't want to talk about James's conversation. I want to talk about priority roll because it's got that coming up, and that could be funny if it goes really way up the Chaos Ascendant here.
James, you keep telling me that the horrors are fine because I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm going to keep painting them up. You and me. How many horrors you got, James?
Don't near forest.
30. Only 30.
30, same.
Oh,
30 pinks.
That's a 4. Have
30 is a fair number.
Chaos just won priority roll?
I'm waiting for a dice to break out of there.
Okay,
I think
so...
Chaos just won the priority roll 4 to 2.
Oh.
No, it's the roll. It's the roll. Oh, it's getting so...
Oh, that's just what he needed.
Oh, so it's a 4-4. 4-4.
Taking the turn.
Say that again.
Seraphon are taking the turn. He went-
Seraphon won it, and they're taking the turn. They will be able to achieve nothing with this turn. But points-wise, it's 5
They'll
victory
achieve to be able
points.
to not die immediately is
Yeah.
what they'll achieve.
5 victory points to Aaron and his whatever that's over there, Seraphon, and 8 victory points currently to Legion of Chaos Ascendant and Antu.
Does that mean it's currently 10-10?
Huh?
Does that mean it's currently 10-10?
No, it's 5-8, 8-5.
Oh, sorry. Concurrent total.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you just meant in that turn alone. Okay.
No, 8-5. And then in this turn, because it's turn 4, if he holds that centre objective, that back objective here, which he's currently holding, he'll score 4 points. But then in the next turn, there'll be 8.
There's a big chaos ball on the board.
There'll be 8. K-Dread, this is Tom. My host today, if you guys are interested, this is Tom from the 40k show. Mr. Tom
the camera, no one can see me.
Crystal Tom. And then we've also got Mr. James Powell, the merch grot, and also aficionado of all quiches, is in the house.
Yeah, that's me. That's me today. There'll be so many people in this channel.
I don't even play this game.
Well, it's helping keeping us motivated and keeping it fun, right?
It's okay.
I don't even like Warhammer.
And then the other dulcet voice that you can hear is Adam, the TO, who is also helping us livecast while he TOs, which is incredible work. 4Track says, this is my haven while my wife makes me watch Eurovision. Is that on tonight? Cancel the stream! We should stream Eurovision. That'd be funny.
I feel like the law might come in.
Drinking and watching Eurovision.
It's basically in English. Wait, wasn't it cancelled because of the Rona?
I thought so.
What the hell?
Maybe they're just doing replays and hoping people don't remember.
I didn't watch it the first and whenever, so that's fine with me.
He won't ever know about it. He won't notice. It's fine.
I thought you were a huge fan.
I'm not a fan of any singing. Or Europeans, obviously, at this stage. Yeah, screw those Europeans. Apart from anyone who's in the chat, except the Finnish. I like everyone apart from the Finnish is my new decider. My new decider. Yeah, screw you, Finland, and your swans.
I'm going to say I like Finland, and if they want to adopt me, they can.
I don't know. I think we should let the Queen know about the date of the Finnish swans so we can invade.
I know, right?
Go and get the swans back. They don't belong to you, they belong to the Queen, you dicks. Give them back.
Who would have been in the UK for? Well, fuck you, Rob. Says Swan or Rurik.
Yeah, go on, you too. Come on,
Yes,
you belong to the Queen.
yes.
You're gonna look like that bloke, the Carol Baskin's husband in Tiger King with the leash around him, just sat on the floor next to the Queen.
Well, I'm just really excited for the Age of Sigmar
Maybe you're into
Twitter war between the Finnish and English community. So I'm hype about it. It's gonna be fun. Just some pre-concocted drama for no reason.
Swan drama. Back the Queen Swan.
Yeah. By the way, if any regular people from Finland watch the show, I am going to constantly be cussing swans out for the next several weeks.
I mean, swans are straight dickheads. Like they have no purpose of them, just to piss people off. Fighting twat.
Finland was planning on participating in the ETC AOS this year. You should do it next year, bro.
Go next year, be fine.
Yeah. But because obviously I'm joking, and I think you guys are obviously amazing. So what we've seen happen, James. We're in the hero phase for the Seraphon.
Yeah, so he's trying to throw out some spells to do some damage, but realistically, there's no turn out. He's done like enough mortal wounds to take out that one Kadai.
To Kadai for.
Yeah, to Kadai for.
Yeah. So is that all he managed to do with Croak? Surely he's doing more.
He's now so he's got 6 targets from Comet Skull.
Okay.
Cool.
So I think he's hitting so he's hitting basically all the stuff that's fighting in the heroes.
Okay, so he's just doing mortal wounds here into these units.
So they have taken it's D3, isn't it? So they've taken 2 mortal wounds. They've taken 1.
Good.
The Demonettes take 1.
So more wound output again from Croak, but he's not got anywhere near enough damage here in this situation to
Sins are taking 3.
I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think he's got enough damage here.
I'm not sure, Rob. I think I disagree. I think these 20-odd skinks and 6 salamanders.
He should. What he should be doing is aiming into the. He should be aiming into the demonettes to free up those salamanders to do some shooting. That's what he should be doing.
What he should be doing is getting good.
And
I mean,
also
that's
getting
another
better.
thing you can do. Yeah.
Also getting loads better. I think that would be a key component of this particular.
Or
game.
learning to roll, or just like downloading a cheat engine so he always rolls 60.
I think it would be noticed.
There was a game the other day played by 2 people who I'm not going to name drop, but they were rolling this big dice, comedy dice, because I thought it was funny, and it kept rolling 6s, and then someone turned up to spectate and told them that it always rolls 6s. So it spent the game rolling this big comedy dice, not really realizing that it was the intentionally weighted dice just for banter. But yeah,
the Squigs just lost.
Oh, what?
dear.
No, that is a 0 and 3 for the Squigs. For possibly the
But let's be
greatest
honest,
guy. Go on.
The real winners here though are the Squigs, and let's be honest, they're going to win the tournament because I'm going to rig it. So
cool. Sounds good. I'm down for that. Agree.
I'm
guess
down
who's
for
in
that.
charge?
Can you just make Bud best sports just because he should be probably?
Oh, I like this background we've got to the table now. It's just like ye olde, Victorian English York Street. I like it.
I think you'll find that's low fantasy, Tom.
No, that's just York, mate.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if you know this, but because we play the high fantasy Age of Sigmar, we are all scrubs, and low fantasy Old World is the future, and anyone who disagrees is wrong.
I mean, it's just York to me, mate. But yeah.
Also, be on the keto diet. There's just a whole bunch of memes you're learning right here.
Like, what exactly is the keto diet? Is it like low carb?
Keto diet is probably a sensible way to help manage your cholesterol intake and your general overall health and well-being. but it's also a thing that people
This is
use.
not why
that is a bunch of buzzwords. That is
No,
you're really
that's
healthy
me
in
being
that, and
no.
some words I don't understand.
That was me being an adult. The
okay.
childish answer is the keto diet is also something that ham-fisted cockwombles throw in your face when they want to show you that they only ate a steak today or something. And anyone who publicly talks about it's probably
Does
a
That
swan.
mean I'm
It's
a
probably
cock?
a fucking swan, and we all know they're the worst, don't we? Fuck you,
am I a
Finland.
swan? Because I asked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, as punishment, I'm going to cover myself in Vaseline and pretend I'm a slug.
And a swan. I
I
reckon.
don't think that's what a swan does, mate. What are you talking
Morpus
about?
Clockwork. Rob, how do we get those badass objective markers in Tabletop Simulator? You just load up any of the workshops that have them in them. Just search for the Battle Plan Starstrike. You'll be able to find them, then save them as an object in your game. You'll be able to use them all the time. And when you're shipping the real ones, great question. The man who does this.
who's asking?
But they're also available. You see here in these bags when you load the map, 6-inch objective marker. Go in there, grab it out, copy and paste it. Put it
So Murpus Clockwork. So if anyone's asking, so if you've already ordered some and we've already got your order, then they're shipping in waves. But we sold a lot more than we expected. And so we were going to just have like a mad packing day. So we have to order them, they're custom made. And then we are going to have a mad packing day. And then Rona happened. So there's just me packing I think I've done 200 envelopes so far. So if you've ordered some and they're shipping, you've had an email. If not, I think I'm down to my last 40 orders. So I'm hoping you'll be within next week's batches. If they haven't gone, and you'll get an email when they ship. I think that's it.
There you go. There you go.
Can I have them for
Answers.
free because I'm poor?
Yes.
Who answered? No.
See, this is where we've got you in a bind, Adam, because we're also poor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and technically in debt because we bought them.
Can I have some free money, please, Adam? Because I am poor.
Yes. If I can have the objective money. If I can have the
that sounds good
objective
to me. If you give us some free money, we'll give you the free objective markers, okay?
Perfect.
Excellent.
Morpa says, thanks for the update. I'm going to be so popular with the lads. To be honest, I've actually heard that you get more friends if you use the objective markers in your games.
I think they're an interesting one.
You have more success in all the relationships.
That people hated them. People either loved them or hated them, and the longer they seem to exist in the world, the more people that seem to love them, which is kind of hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So there was people that when we originally released them, that I know and that were just no, I don't like them. They're terrible. I'd never buy any. I don't want any. Went to an event, played a mate with them, and in the last wave, I know I've sent them. So that's been quite fun. That and the fact that they've gone to some Games Workshop stores is my two favourite things.
That's good.
I can't wait for a Games Workshop shop to have them on the table.
Oh, me either. Well, I've used them at Warhammer World already.
I mean, that's not even the most ridiculous thing I ever used at Warhammer World. I remember using my mech guns there once.
Oh wow, that's the worst experience ever. So just to keep everyone back on track, we were in the hero phase for the Seraphon. I'm sorry that we descended there. It's been a bit late, and we're not really in that setting to be as professional as possible.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just as much my fault as anyone else. I found out Finland have ordered 9 of the objective markers, which is great.
Put them on your swans.
Yeah. Put them on your swans.
They might not have gone actually, but they are in my list.
Anyway, we were in the hero phase. That's correct. We saw some more wound output. Movement, we haven't seen much movement. So, James, are we into the movement phase yet or not? We're still in this long-ass hero phase. We've got 13 summoning points and 5 command points available for the Seraphon, though. So I'd be interested to see what they put down on the board.
I think they might have just... No, they can't just skip moving, can they?
No, they won't have done that. These 2 Kadai are dead. They need to get off the board. It's triggering me.
Yeah, he's cheating.
They're there for Battle Shock, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. They're for Battle Shock. Yeah. So yeah, we are into the movement phase now. You see the
now we're moving.
Now the Saurus Guard, which aren't too bad in a fight, by the way. 2 attacks each, 3/3s, rend 1. They get in the fight and hit those Fireborn up, looking to take them out. The Salamanders, though, this is a big one, weren't freed here. This is important. These 2 Demonettes into the Demonettes. I think that's important. If he could get any shots on at all, any sort of shot, I'd be very tempted to poke a couple of wounds over there. Do you know what's also a big call is, and it would have been a bold move, Cotton, but it would have been to have teleported Croak and thrown him into combat. Yeah. Now, I might sound like a lunatic. But he does. That's also true. But he does better against units, hordes. He gets an attack for every X number of models within range.
Right.
So it would have been a desperate play, but he's fairly desperate anyway.
Yeah, you might as well take the risk.
You might as well take the risk. I might sound like a lunatic, but he does. That's also true. But he does better against units, hordes. He gets an attack for every X number of models within range.
Right.
So it would have been a desperate play, but he's fairly desperate anyway.
Yeah, you might as well take the risk.
You might as well take the risk. So he gets an attack for every unit within 3 inches. He would have done hit on 3s, wound on 3s, rend 1. So he maybe could have thrown them in, but he's decided not to do that. And I don't know why. But it looks like, to be honest, it looks very dominant for the Legion of Chaos Ascendant in this game, right?
Yeah. Oh, the Salamanders are teleporting out of combat.
Okay. I mean, I think he would have preferred not to have done that, because he could have done that with the other unit of Salamanders, right? That are here in a fight against the Kadai. So if he could have had that unit of Salamanders free in the hero phase, teleported the other unit, he would have been able to bring 2 units of Salamanders to bear here. He's also got the Starseer nearby. He's going to use his command ability to give him reroll 1s.
Yeah.
So hit on 3s, rerolling 1s to be able to pop that. So wait, Steve, does Saurus Guard have D3 damage on their pole axes now? That can't be right. No. Saurus Guard. Let's go find out. Guard. Oh, if they have, that would be so amazing. D3 damage. D3 damage? No, they got 1 damage, bro. Could wipe out the Demonettes, freeing up the Sallies. He could have wiped out the Demonettes, freeing up the Sallies, is what he should have done, but he did not decide to do that. So he's just going to hit into those pink horrors. The problem is he's just not going to do enough damage here at all. There's 100 wounds on those objectives. It's so gross.
Yep.
Oh, pink horrors, you're the best. You're the best.
Don't you love the fact that you own a load?
And I've painted them all as well. Well, not the blue horror bits, though. I've only got the blue. I've done all the brims. I've done all the pinks now. I've just got all the blues to do. And then I'm the legend. The legend that was. I've also got 12 Kadai that are painted. A Vermilor Corruptor.
It's a shame, right? Because we could have found a doubles event and just taken all those horrors and all those gaunt summoners.
It's the worst. That'd be the worst thing to face in the world.
Can you imagine? Hi, it's our turn 1. He's 63 big horrors.
Oh my god, I love it. It's the best.
Almost as aggressive as my Crimbobo list last year.
It's pretty horrible. Pretty horrible. The really scary thing is you could really replace Kairos with another Gaunt Summoner. Not that maybe you should, because Kairos is great for everything he brings to the yard. But you could turn 1, definitely put down 20 pink horrors, with arguably maybe putting down another 30 pink horrors.
Yeah.
Which would suck.
Balanced, by the way.
Balanced,
by the way.
Yeah, really good. Pink horrors really are the best as Chris Jr., as he should, as he's taken out several events at the beginning of the year before the lockdown, while also being really good at X-Wing as well. Got into the top 100 in an X-Wing event in Las Vegas.
Nice.
So it's transferable skills wargaming, right?
Like, once you get a game, you can get more games.
It's about being able to learn, though, right? Like, the ability to learn a game is transferable across multiple games.
Yeah, and also, Puzzfrau, let Seraphon have their moment in the sun. Don't worry, bro. I'm on your team. To be honest, I think Seraphon are fine. They just need to stop Croak being quite so offensive. The global damage is awful. It's just an awful experience for everyone. But the rest of the Seraphon, they've got weaknesses. They've got strengths. Anyway, which phase are you, James?
So it's the combat phase.
Okay.
No, shooting. Sorry.
Okay. What are we seeing shooting to where?
So the Sallies are just shooting it into that giant pile of Kadai.
Perfect. Let's go, giant pile of Kadai. Let's get those gone. Look at them. They're whittling. They're going down fast now. 5 of them have gone. They're going to definitely suffer from a battle shock test. He's got a command point, but no heroes nearby. So that could be a really shitty battle shock test that they're about to take. That's actually pretty scary, to be honest. And I wonder if he's going to charge the Salamanders in. I'm sure he's got to get as much output as he can at this stage. Charge the Salamanders in to the Pink Horrors as well to get rid of those. Don't know what he's going to do about the Brims. I think that's a deal with that.
I think the problem is he's now going to have spent a whole turn getting rid of these Kadai on turn 4, so that he's never going to take those other 2 objectives, and therefore never going to win the game.
Fair point. Yeah, I agree with that, absolutely.
It's 5. What's the score? It's 5-8. It's such a big comeback at this point, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to come back from. Absolutely. Then is it really that big a deal? It depends.
I think it'd be really interesting. So, if I go back a little bit, that Beast of Chaos army that I ran quite a while ago, that was just like a load of Bestigor that charged across the board and hit like a truck. The casting in that was minimal, and turn 1 it was all up in your face. So there's probably maybe some older armies that Seraphon have been more set up than some of the newer armies. Their board control's really good, but actually if you got in their face really fast, I think they'd struggle to, make the summoning points.
They would for the summoning points, but I don't think they overly rely on the summoning. I think what's interesting about this is I feel like as much as this Croak build is really strong and really shitty to deal with, I feel like it's a little bit too much commitment in the additional slan feels like that's a lot. I know it's only a couple of 100 points, but it's a lot. It's it's very character heavy, this build, and it could have done with a block of 40 skinks maybe as another additional threat. I think that would have been nice in there. That's not to second guess a list, but I think if you're looking at putting something prodigious on the board, and we haven't seen, again, we're seeing a lot of these Croak builds, a lot of these Salamander builds, but we're not seeing a lot of those
Carnosaur builds.
Yeah, no, I don't mean those. Thank you. I mean the Bastillodon.
Carnosaurs.
The Bastillodon. Yeah, we should get 12 of these. You see this? What we're seeing? What are we looking? Yes, he's blown up. Look at this. He's blown up with the Salamanders, the Pink Horrors, but they've turned into more objective scoring Blue Horrors. Which is
shame.
Yeah, a shame.
Shame. I think the problem is what people don't seem to get, and I know at this point in the game it's almost impossible for him to do, but actually one of the best things you can do, I think, is just ignore horrors. Because their damage output, the shooting's okay, but in combat they're terrible.
Yep.
And actually, every time, I had a game, I think, at the WS10 team tournament, and everyone kept charging them and fighting them, and it'd be cool, you've put 10 models on the objective, you've killed 2. I had 10 models, now I've got 12. Thanks, it's my objective.
I don't understand why he didn't just shoot those brimstones.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't take the brimstones out at least.
Just kill the brimstones, and then just at least there's nothing more there.
Yes. I mean, because really you're dealing with 20 bodies. If you could replace those 20 bodies on the board, and not really engage with the pinks, as we talked about. But the problem is the Vermilord Corrupt is actually really decent in a fight with his weapon loadout that he's got rocking. So they're going to be able to counter-punch. I think, like we talked about at the beginning, I don't know if you guys remember, or if you... Oh, what's happening? Big charge.
So charge over. They rolled an 11, those Salamanders.
Okay.
That's a big charge.
but now
So-
they need to work out where they're going.
Interesting. Well, if they go into the blues, so he's already going to be forced. Not forced. If he goes into
Look
the
at this little
blues,
skink in the way.
He still can't win it though, because the Brims will still have more models.
it's true. It's true. They cannot.
Okay, so he rolled an 11, and Kairos made the 6-1.
Oh
Oops.
wait, he's already used that.
Oh, maybe not then.
He can't
Yeah,
have done
he
that.
definitely used that earlier for the charge on the
He's
Kadai.
definitely already used that.
Is it?
Definitely already used Kairos' ability.
I might have misheard, so I'm trying to listen to us and them. And also, I'm tempted to poke in the chat, but I also don't want to affect the game.
Do it.
Say that. Yeah, go for it. Let's find out. We need to know what the actual information is.
The TO's given you permission. Go, Naz.
So we're seeing those salamanders at the top piling. It looks like they haven't, but we'll find a quick update on the info and make sure we're getting exactly the right information for you guys.
The Fate
on
Master
tabletop.
made it a 1.
Sorry, say that again.
The Fate Master made it a 1.
Who Kairos did?
Yeah.
Fate man.
I can't hear what you're saying, James.
Yeah. So he's apparently made it a 1. So maybe I got it wrong on the Kadai earlier. But I'm going to check.
Okay, all right.
I'm just going to ask.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Do you want an update on table 1 while we're
Please
waiting
do.
for that?
Let us know what's happening at the rest of the tournament.
So table 1 is the Seraphon versus the Deepkin, and it looks, to be honest, they've had quite a slow game. So they only just finished turn 2, but it's one of those games where as soon as this turn's done, it's just going to roll through in like 15 minutes. And it looks like the Seraphon are going to take that one because they've managed to kill fucking loads of eels. So it looked quite tight to start with, but I think the Seraphon have managed to just do as much damage as they can. Just got a couple more results come in. The Stormcast that you saw earlier won against the Deepkin list. So those Stormcast beat some Deepkin. Mark Brooks lost against where is that? Table 7. So yeah, Mark Brooks on table 7 lost against the Karajan Overlords.
Did he? Has Mark lost 3 games? That's tough for Mark.
2, I think. I think he won the last game. So he won game 2, I think. And then table 11. The cities have just beaten the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, I think.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. What else has happened? Just trying to work out. Yeah, we know the Squigs lost. Sorry, I'm just getting loads of results suddenly just pop in.
Well, that's great news.
Table 5. The Deepkin have beaten the Skaven. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, Dan Arnold's Deepkin have beaten Skaven. Yeah, all eels.
Love it.
But Dan Arnold's a terrible Deepkin player, and he's not as good as me.
Good update. Good. Yeah.
I love telling him he's not as good as me because it really winds him up. So yeah.
Oh, look at the Kadai dropping now in the combat phase. But please continue. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. To be honest, that's about it so far. The rest of the games are carrying on. So I know that table 4, you've got those Seraphon. Or was that? Sorry, that was table 3, I think. Had the Seraphon with the. Yeah, so table 3 had the Seraphon with the Saurus Knights, and they're still going strong. I think they've killed enough to be able to hold out for the whole game, to be honest, which is quite cool. So the Saurus Knights are doing quite well. And that's about it so far. I think Owen Jackson's doing quite well with his Corn. Their game looks quite tight, but it looks like it's going into his favour. And he's playing against... I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah.
Good.
It's going well. It's going well.
Look how many horrors there are. Oh, it's good. I can't wait to see who the eventual winner of the event is. Do you think it might be Antu? He looks like he's going to take this event out. Oh, at least this match out.
It depends if Matt on table 1 can score well on his objectives. Because it's between Matt and Antu by the looks of it. So depending on how the objectives, how their hidden agendas go, depends who's going to take it out.
Okay.
But Matthew on table 1 has got a four objective points every single game so far.
I'm gonna just jump in if that's okay.
Yeah, please do.
So basically, I've just been chatting to the players as well in the little chat. So we were right. The Kadai had been changed. They both forgot. We reminded them. The Salamanders charged, and he basically started anyway with the Salamanders at the top to see how much of the Kadai he could wipe out. He didn't. He wiped out one, I think. Rolled really badly. So what they've basically done is called the game. Mathematically, they've sat and just had a chat, and Aaron just couldn't catch up in points anymore. So even if his Salamanders wipe out all those blues, those Brims still claim the point, and he can't do anything about it. So as you can see on the board, it currently says GG, well played, thank you, stream, love you. So there we go.
There we go, the end of the game. And look at that. Croak not touched, neither of the support characters, but these horrors just decimating the board and controlling the space. And again...
And not dying.
Not dying. The Kadai were dying. They're down to 4 now. But they would have... they were in the mix enough. And the Salamander's also not dead. But it did turn out, like I said, to end up in the snowballing of units on the board for holding the objectives. But... it turned out that Antu got lucky enough to roll those 10 pluses. So Legion of Chaos Ascendant, there you go, taking out the big bad Seraphon on the table.
Yeah.
Super cool list. I'm glad we got to see it twice, to be honest. Especially against that Seraphon mirror matchup.
Oh, the table's been flipped. There we go.
Yes, hero.
Did we work out the final score was? Because obviously that's going to matter for the final standings of the event, right?
Yeah. Well, I might talk to... I might talk to you guys later, and then if we could, maybe tomorrow's show, we could see if the winner is free. Whoever ends up winning, we could talk to them about their list and how we thought it played on the tabletop. But obviously, it's been a really great day of coverage. I've enjoyed all of the games and what we've seen so far. And honestly, a couple of months out, a few new books, we've really started to see a new meta take place. And it's fun to I've enjoyed my very first day of doing coverage again. So thank you to all of you guys for helping out with that and being a part of it. You guys are amazing. But it's so interesting to see how much the game has changed already. Some super unique lists. Did anyone have a favourite moment from the day or a favourite list?
Just before we break into that, it's worth pointing out because someone asked about final scores. So it was 19-1 to Chaos Ascendant.
There you go, 19-1 to Chaos. 19-1.
Which I'm guessing is victory points rather than the in-game score.
Yeah, that's the VPs. So what do you think? What was your favourite moment from the day, James? You have been here all day.
Do you know what? It's been crazy. It's been crazy coming back. It's been crazy coming back to Warhammer in such a obscurely weird way.
Yes.
But it's been I know this is going to sound utterly lame and everyone can take the piss out of me later, but it's just been super nice to watch some people play some Warhammer. And there's been loads of great bits. There's been loads of bits I've enjoyed watching. I don't think I've got one. Finally watching those Kadai do something was nice.
Took a while to get there.
Yeah,
Tom, did you have any moments from this game that you enjoyed?
Yeah, when you finally bloody threw the Kadai in, that was nice. Took him his time about it, didn't he? Very upsetting. But no, it was nice to see the pink horrors tank so much, and demonstrate their role and how well they do it. I mean, that's pretty obnoxious and irritating. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
quite
is.
enjoy watching that game.
It definitely is obnoxious. Adam, you got a favourite part from the day?
Thatchers,
Thatcher's
There you go.
cider.
if I'm honest, you know.
If I'd tag him in the video, see if you can get sponsored for the next one.
Yeah, please.
I think you should. I think you should just constantly tag them until you're like, look, this is sponsored by Thatcher's. Anyway, you
I'm
guys
up
are.
for
Yeah, me too. Well, anyone who's watched us live, you guys are wicked. Thank you. So Marcus, Aaron, Azrank, Swan, all my Finnish friends. Swans are okay, to be honest. Stinky Steve, down unsupervised. K-Dread, I know I saw you earlier. So Gwendar, any of you guys who've joined us live, if you joined us live on Facebook, or if you're watching back on Facebook, first time you've ever seen it, Chris Jr., Studio Earthwood, I've seen you guys as well. Please tune in for any time we do coverage. Obviously, we do coverage now on the tabletop through the T Sports Network. We're waiting, obviously, for tournaments to resume. So, obviously, that's going to be a while. But we are maybe going to do more of this in the future. It's been really fun. So I hope you guys enjoy it. But you can join us every day. We talk Age of Sigmar, 40k quite a lot through the week. We've got podcasts, we've got shows. If it's your first experience of us, check us out. And thank you for anyone who's supported us up until this point on Honest Wargamer Patreon. Couldn't actually do it without you, so thanks. And we're going to go now and maybe have a rest because we've talked for like 9 hours today. So let's have a chill. What do you think? Probably, do you want to play some Warhammer?
Always.
Let's go
I'm
play some Warhammer.
organising the next one.
Let's go play some Warhammer. You guys are great. Go have a